chance and a high of 16.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. Cooling off is so much easier with DIY underground sprinklers from the Rusty Shovel. Simply measure your yard, send us your plans, and we'll figure out exactly what you need, get you a quote, and package instructions on how to do it yourself and save thousands. And our Blue Lock fitting system makes assembly a snap. You can even control your system from your phone. Visit therustyshovel.ca. Great projects start at the shovel. The Rusty Shovel Landscape Shop. 2 green thumbs up.
He's at it again. Matt's sharpening his pencil to save you money at Matt's Furniture. Now till June 4th, it's Maytag month. Buy any 2 qualifying Maytag major kitchen appliances and save an extra $150. Buy 3 or more and save an extra $300. Buy any 4 eligible Maytag kitchen appliances and save an extra $400. And buy any Maytag eligible washer and dryer pair and save an extra $100. See in store for all the details. Matt's Furniture in Fort Capel, Kamsack, Melville, and Foam Lake, or online at mattsfurniture.ca.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Tuesday, we made it back from a long weekend. I think most of us anyway. If you were camping this long weekend, May long in Sasky, good on you. You can't trust May long weekend weather in Saskatchewan or Thanksgiving long weekend weather in Saskatchewan. You just can't. It's Tuesday. We missed Monday for our friends at Kelton Solar in Lumsden. We'll give them some love today if you need anything on the solar front, whether it's for the livestock operation, the house, farm, business, Kelton Solar. A lot to get to today. I want to hear from Leaf fans on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. I don't know. I know Maz is going to want to get into this in a bit, but what happened? Leaf fans. Winnipeg fans, you know, you had a heck of a regular season again. I don't know what happens with the Jets. So if you're one of those Canada's, I just want Canada to win people, elbows up, then Edmonton's your horse now. But if you're wagering, if you'd like the other teams, down to 4 in the NHL. Rider news. Dave Thomas is standing by. We're about 3 minutes away from linking in with him at the Red Zone Sports Bar. Injuries on the offensive line. There's other injuries as well. Dave will give us the full recap. Arash Madani's in hour 2. Clutch performer. More training camp report. Glenn Sudter in hour 3. Really interested to talk to Glenn about the flag football news in Canada and the U.S. today. Training camp report in hour 3 as well. Oh, and if you missed it, the Medicine Hat Tigers are going on the Memorial Cup. We're going to talk to Will Bryant, the play-by-play voice of the Medicine Hat Tigers. That's later in hour 1. We're going to hook up with him. Full show for Sask Lotteries, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our great province. Maz, good job last week while I was gallivanting in Denver, Colorado for a spring hockey tournament. Go ahead, laugh. Call me crazy psycho hockey parent.
No, it's funny. I had asked the double C's, and then I asked the C and A, the Colson and Al. I'm like, where's Barney? Nobody knew. And the other thing, too, we couldn't figure out, did you give blood last week, like a pint of blood to Canadian Blood Services, or did you have to go get a vial of blood taken to go to a doctor's appointment? Because the way you described it,
I have a physical tomorrow.
Okay, so you gave a blood sample, right?
Samples. Yeah. And you're
Colson, Curtis, I told you it was a blood sample, not donating blood at Canadian Blood Services with cookies and juice. We couldn't figure it out. A little confusing. Just needed to clarify.
I've done that, though.
I know, but the way you made it sound that you were in a mad rush lineup at like 5:45 in the morning, that doesn't sound like
that sound
like Canadian Blood Services.
No. they got things buttoned up. They roll out the red carpet for you. It's our free healthcare system. Can we kind of blame it on that? Just you wait for everything. You wait to give blood, wait for surgeries, wait for this, wait for that. But I made it through. Physical tomorrow. I'll let you know. If there's bad news, I'll be sad on the show. I'm prepared for either way.
What do you...
You never know. You never know. Don't take anything for granted. Live each day. What are the other quotes that we can use? Do your job.
Can I get Colson to put up a live, love, laugh bottom bar there? That's going to be the theme of the show since Barney's getting inspirational. You go to Denver. Did you join a cult or something? You're coming back. You're dropping
That's Salt Lake.
Lifetime movie quotes and Salt Lake.
No, I said I think you're thinking Salt Lake if I joined a cult.
Now there's
Denver's
some
great.
weirdos in Colorado. There's some weirdos in Denver.
Traffic, though, not the greatest freeway system. Paid for the toll system, paid the rental vehicle, paid for tolls. So what do we do when we have to get to the airport? We miss the toll freeway that we paid for that would have taken 20 minutes to get to the airport. No, instead we grind it out for 45 in the stop, go. Hey, United Airlines, I was going to have 3 hours of show prep based on United Airlines because they just started the direct from Regina back to Denver. So get this. We're flying back Sunday night direct. We're going to get home 9 o'clock, sleep in our own beds. Perfect. One of the guys flying standby, he's a pilot with WestJet that I know. He texts me. We're on our way to the gate walking. He's like, I don't think this flight's going. He's like, everything is delayed because of the storms. We're the only one on time. I just found out there's no crew. I'm like, no. United, last time you were in Regina, you were a dumpster fire. Please, no, not again. So they came on, and then because Regina's airport is like, you might as well be flying into Waka. After midnight, a lot of American carriers won't fly in or something like that because the people go home for work, like whatever so it's all off radio. I know this pilot's talking mumbo jumbo to me. It might as well have been in a different country. And I'm like, so we have to be home by midnight. He's like, yeah. So then United keeps delaying this flight. No crew. I go up and I said, hey, what's with the curfew thing? Like, are you just kicking the can down the street here until you cancel it for good? So can I book a hotel? And then she didn't like that I knew about the curfew. She was like, this guy's got inside baseball. And I'm like, well, this guy right here is a pilot. He knows. Anywho, kudos United. They got a crew from another flight. They got off the flight and they were told, hey, you got to fly this bird to Regina. It's at gate 50. Basically how it happened. These pilots show up and the flight attendant, they get on the plane. We're going. It's go time. Good job. They got all the bag, like everything. The pilot gets on the air. He's like, apparently we're going to a place called Regina. Please don't slap me if I said that wrong. He's like, we have never been, all three of us. Okay, let's go. And so now I'm like, this guy. So I'm talking to the flight attendant. She's lovely. And I'm like, are you looking forward to going to Regina, Saskatchewan? She's like, I've only been to Canada once. I really like the poutine. I said, wow, we're landing at about midnight. You're probably staying at the Atlas Hotel. I don't know what time the kitchen's open till. You can order. Where would you order a poutine on a Sunday night at midnight? Anyone? That's a tough one.
Wouldn't that have been awful since these people weren't expecting it? They didn't have their passports on them and they weren't allowed to land the plane because they couldn't clear customs.
I think a lot of people would have just jumped off at that point.
So how
far
long
is that?
is a direct
8
flight?
feet?
How long is a direct flight from Denver to Regina?
Because we had a tailwind, so we were like buzzing. Hour and 50 minutes, I think it took.
Nice.
My daughter's sitting beside me, and she's like, I don't like the fact that they got tape holding this window together. I'm like, yeah, they give us whatever to get to Regina.
What kind of plane was it? Was it a 700 or something, or was it a propeller?
It was a jet.
Plane,
it wasn't a propeller. It was the Bombardier jet, like two sides, probably about, I don't know, 70 people.
As long as it's a jet, that's all I care about. Embraer, something, a jet, that's fine.
It wasn't the propeller one. I'll take the propeller one. I'm not that big of a guy. But you see those people, those big guys. This is a segment for Eric Francis for our podcast, maybe. Like big people that have to take like the propeller planes. They must just be like, oh, why did my company book me on this? Anywho, kudos United, made it back, safe and sound. I like the poll you guys had on Friday about camping May long. You can never trust it. You can't.
It's awful.
Can't trust it.
And my neighbors, all of them, were the only ones on the block. Some people, they're like, well, they're poor. No, I'm smart. You're all going camping. It's +8 and raining. You gotta be trapped in the fifth wheel with your family. I see you guys never hang out together 50 other weeks a year, 51 other weeks a year, but yet you're gonna go jam up in a trailer for 3 days in the middle of nowhere?
Remember when
you can't go outside?
When we were kids, hey, we've talked about this. We're originally from Saskatoon. It was like Emma Lake, Candle Lake, Waskasiu. Those were the big three. And all you got back on May long, people would tent, and then there'd be pictures like Polaroid cameras, snow on the tent. As long as you had beer or beverages, you were okay, and hot dogs. And always fights. Tons of fights. PA versus Saskatoon. Saskatoon versus North Battleford. North Battleford versus who knows. It was just not... Kelly Taylor, the comedian, we should get him on one day. And he'll know all the May long fighting stories from Emma Lake. Because we're the same crew, same age, same hockey guys. Although we were buds because hockey. But guys just wanted to fight. That's all they wanted to do. In the snow in a tent. No winter tires. Oh man, May long.
And I'm gonna say no brains and no common sense to go along with your no winter tires comment. Colson, where's the live, love, and laugh? Let's go back to Barney being philosophical about his medical appointment tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting tomorrow. I'll probably get a little nervous. I'll get a little nervous when she starts going through the blood work a little bit. I know the cholesterol's high. I haven't had a gout outbreak in like 3 years since I stopped eating sunflower seeds, so that's a good thing. I don't know about everything else, though.
Right before the show, breaking news. Norm, George Wendt from Cheers, passed away, age 76.
Norm.
George was so good. I know Norm. Colson and Alan have no idea who Norm is.
You have no idea who George Wendt is? Norm from Cheers? Yeah, you guys wouldn't have watched Cheers. It was okay. What was the Christy Alley? And then what was the other lady? One of them was just super whiny and annoying. I think it was Christy Alley.
That was Diane Chambers. Her name was Diane Chambers on the show. What was her name in real life? Just a sec. Let me Google this.
You know who does a good... Derek Bidwell does a really good impression of... who am I thinking of now? Not Norm.
Cliff Clavin.
Woody Harrelson.
Shelley Long. Shelley Long played Diane Chambers on Cheers. I liked it when Kirstie Alley came on. That's when they kind of hit their sweet spot, and then we're good from there.
She always seemed whiny. Prairie Land Rentals text line's buzzing about where to get poutine at midnight. If you're flying in from Denver and you've never flown into Regina before. Prairie Land Rentals, whether it's the big jobs you need or the small jobs, you can rent a spade at Prairie Land Rentals, or you can rent a skid steer, and they deliver everything if you need. 600 Albert Street, deal with the owner, anything you need for a project right now. Keep them coming, 936-6262. Dave Thomas standing by at the Red Zone Sports Bar in Saskatoon, right behind the Saskatoon Travelodge. Probably they run a poutine at midnight up there. Dave, you would know. Is Dave there? There it is.
Is this thing on? Just a second. Is this thing on?
Long time no talk, Dave.
Yeah, long time no see. But I find out, there's a poutine. There's so much more here. There's burgers. There's chicken tacos. There's
and the breaking news
quesadillas.
The all-you-can-eat ribs on Sundays during the CFL season at the Red Zone Bar.
Why Sundays?
CFL Sunday.
Because CFL Sunday and then into NFL Sunday. The whole game plan here, Barney.
Smart.
Whole game plan.
Smart. Dave, I ask you a lot of tough questions. Should I be worried about my physical tomorrow?
I have no idea, buddy. I have no idea.
Who's
come
still
on.
getting a physical? Who's clogging up the medical system, getting a random physical? You're not a pilot. You're not joining the military. Why are you getting a yearly physical?
Maybe I'm thinking about it. But speaking of physicals and people being healthy and not healthy, our riders, what's the word, Dave? Yesterday, the talk was social media. You had the post, sportscage.com, losing offensive linemen. Where do things stand today, Tuesday here after the long weekend? What can we tell people?
Well, not a whole heck of a lot better, Barney, to tell you the truth. As Sean McEwen is still going to be out for a while, and I think that's a long-term injury when it comes to Sean, so that's a real unfortunate break. The other one is that Philippe Gagnon, who was one of two players that was kind of splitting reps at center just to kind of get a feel for where we might move forward. He was in a sling today and is going to undergo more imaging. So that's a tough couple of ones on the offensive line, and unfortunately, the list gets longer from there.
Noah Zaire back we talked last week. I said, I'm sure that on the exit, they said, hey, don't go too far. We might be calling you. And it was a few days, and they buzzed him. He's back in the fold.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see the pain in Coach Mace's eyes when he was talking about Noah Zaire and having to make that difficult decision to move on from him. But he said right then and there, you know what? His phone is going to ring. He's too good of a player not to have somebody calling him up. And it just so happens that it was his team that had a need, so they called him up. So that might be an indication really strongly, right, of how big that injury is indeed to Sean McEwen, that the Riders are going to go ahead and bolster their Canadians along the offensive line with Noah Zaire.
When I read on Twitter, okay, so we knew about McEwen and then the Gagnon thing, and I set my phone down on the kitchen counter and I'm like, this is why, can we just pump the brakes on the Grey Cup talk here in the preseason? Because we're dropping Canadian offensive linemen. Once again, for whatever reason, I don't know why we're snake bit when it comes to this, but we don't want anybody to be hurt. But if it was American offensive linemen, that's one thing. But Canadian offensive linemen, that's a whole other story. Then you're changing ratios potentially. And it's funny, the McEwen thing to be like, no, of course it's not going to be he'll be back in 4 days. No, it's probably going to be long term. And then Gagnon, and then you don't know. And then Noah Zaire, you're bringing him back in. And then what if something else? And then the shuffle. And didn't I see today Charbel de Beer went down at practice? Canadian D-line? Like, what was the situation there?
Well, to start with the national offensive lineman, you're right? Like, again, making a big, bold statement at this time of year is somewhat ludicrous because you do need a lot of things to go your way. And when it does come to Canadian offensive linemen, I give Jeremy O'Day credit, right? Like, he's gone ahead and he's got a nice group that is built up and is continuing to grow and develop together. So the sky isn't falling when it comes to Canadian offensive linemen. For Charbel de Beer, man, it was tough because the Riders went and put pads on halfway through the workout today, and Charbel went down, hobbled off to the sideline, and then went back into the locker room, came out later in civvies at the end of it. Of course, you recall he came off, or is coming off, that season-ending knee injury from a year ago. So, you know, he is such a great guy, and you want good things to happen to good people, and unfortunately just got rolled up and caught up a little bit in a bit of a skirmish. And again, I'm not talking fight. I'm just talking, you know what? It was a physical portion of the practice, and it just didn't go his way. And so he was on the sideline. He was trying to jog it off. He was stretching it out, trying to feel it both ways. So we hope that it's nothing serious, hope that it's just a tweak, but he did not return to practice today.
Coach Mace, Alan, we got the audio. You have a chance to talk to Coach Mace about practice today.
I think the compete level was high for sure. Pleased with how those guys responded to the net. Another back and forth. Offense had some big plays. I thought run game wise as well. They did a good job. But yeah, the compete level was high.
All right. When we just talked about it, can we get the Noah Zaire? Mace does comment on the re-signing of Noah Zaire.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, some hard decisions when it came down to end up letting them go. off the last cuts. But as I spoke to, man, we still think highly of the kid, and happy as hell that he's able to come back, and for him, just another opportunity to go ahead and push forward and still stay on the same journey that he had for himself and his mind. And who knows, maybe just a little bit of recharge for him. So happy as hell to have him back. I know his brothers are happy to have him back, just like us coaches.
Well, and the one thing you heard Coach Mace saying there, gentlemen, was the fact that it was a bit of a recharge for Noah. I think it's also a rejuvenation, right? Because, hey, you know what? It happened once. I got to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I think that's fueled Noah today as he looked like a bit of a different player. And speaking of a different player this year, A.J. Allen, right? We talked so much about Roland Milligan Jr. did last year in special teams and defensively. But A.J. Allen was actually tied for the special teams lead when it came to tackles in the Canadian Football League a year ago. It earned himself an opportunity with the Denver Broncos, and it's earned him more of an opportunity this year on the linebacking core for your Rough Rider defense. And I asked Coach Mace what he's seen from A.J. Allen so far.
He's earned the right. Certainly we know what he can do on the special teams aspect of him. But throwing him out there on defense, he's a really good blitzer. He's got great hands in his pass rush as well. And obviously being able to float out there in coverage with the pick six that he had last year. So again, it's an opportunity for him to kind of, get his reps and run away and solidify, his spot as far as the depth on the defense. So yeah, man, been pleased with AJ.
And one move maybe that is, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say last year, and maybe this year we're gonna see it too. We had so many people moving around the offensive line, and we had defensive guys coming to play offensive line and all that. There's some movement going on the defensive side as well.
Well, absolutely, right? So if you can add A.J. Allen into your linebacking core, that's a huge plus because, of course, that's where Adam Auclair ended up starting at the end of last year. Again, there was a big battle for that job last year in camp, and it hasn't been handed to A.J. Allen, but there's another name that's in the mix. Jaden Dalkey, who was the week one starter at safety last year, has been asked to transform and become a linebacker, and Coach Mace talked about that.
He's earned the right. Certainly we know what he can do on the special teams aspect of him. But throwing him out there on defense, he's a really good blitzer. He's got great hands in his pass rush as well. And obviously being able to float out there in coverage with the pick six that he had last year. So again, it's an opportunity for him to kind of get his reps and run away and solidify his spot as far as the depth on the defense. So yeah, man, been pleased with AJ.
It was A.J. Allen.
Yeah. We had a little confusion here on this side. This is you got it. This is Coach Mace talking on Dalkey moving to linebacker.
We got a couple guys, be it the linebacker, really everywhere on defense who can play multiple spots, which really helps us. I think bodes well for him is communication and understanding, what the back end's doing. But being able to insert him at a linebacker from here and there. Certainly, even if it's not a sub package, you can do a little bit more with him in there from that standpoint. So, again, another great special teams player. Certainly, at the spot that he was playing today, he even when he played Sam too, I mean, he can blitz, he can hit. He's going to run all day. So, yeah, always pleased with Dalkey.
Okay, that's new, and I'm taking a little time to absorb it because Dalkey last year seemed to play well. It seemed to be the dumb penalties that ended up costing him playing time. Got him on the sideline, and eventually by the end of the season worked his way back in. Just wondering about his size, because he's not linebacker so like A.J. Allen looks like a linebacker. Like, dude's a specimen when it comes to that. So which linebacker position do they have Dalkey playing? Sam, middle. What's he doing? Because Jameer Thurman's in the middle.
Yeah, Jameer Thurman's in the middle. C.J. Rivas is on the other side. And then, of course, you've got that will linebacker spot open. That's where Adam Auclair was. And so, again, if you're going to start a Canadian, you got to make sure you've got depth at that Canadian position, right? Okay. And when it comes to Jaden Dalkey, yeah, a little bit was the penalties of the start of last year, but it was also the acquisition of Marcus Sales, right? So you'll recall back in week number 1, the corner spot was Nelson Lacombo while safety was Jaden Dalkey. Now you can go ahead and you can mix that around. Now, Jaden has added some muscle mass onto his body. He hasn't lost any speed, but he's a bigger guy from what I can tell. And That's a big, big plus right now for the Roughriders.
On Friday, we were chatting. It was all about the green and white game on Saturday, and maybe we can get into this more in depth. Just real quick, who was an offensive star that caught your eye, and who on the defense at that green and white game caught your eye?
Antoine Brooks Jr. on defense, I thought stood out. He had another solid showing. He's been terrific all camp, starting way back with rookie camp. He's done terrifically well and seems to fit into this system marvelously. Offensively, the quarterbacks kind of took turns a little bit showing off. It was a real good day for Jake Maier, but the receiver that stood out by far was Deshaun Mims. He had 5 catches, 2 touchdown receptions, and he did well. And unfortunately for Deshaun, he's now again on the sidelines as he got banged up the other day. So he missed all of today's workout and left yesterday's workout early. So tough for the Regina Ram product, but he definitely hands down best receiver during green and white day.
Oh, can we just leave it alone on the injury front? Okay, this is actually funny. Prairie Land Rentals text line. Steven's kind of echoing what a lot of people are thinking and few text messages along the same lines here. He said, we only signed a few free agent acquisitions in the offseason, which is great, but just days into training camp, they're likely done for the season. Are these guys not training in the offseason? I don't think that's the case. Last year, it was 14 different linemen, starting quarterback, and a handful of receivers and a D lineman. The Bombers, for example, have had as many injuries in the last decade than we've had in less than a week, maybe a little bit off. What's going on here? People are frustrated with the injuries, and it's professional sports. It's a contact sport. It's going to happen. It's not golf where 4 guys got tendonitis all at once. It's tough. But the frustration, and then to Maz's point, it's like we have so much excitement going into this year and all that, and it's like I think we are forgetting, me included, on how hard and grueling this season is. We haven't seen A.J. Ouellette take a number of licks and how he runs and jumps and all that. Is he playing every game this year? I would hammer the no.
I'd take the under. He doesn't play all 18 games.
Trevor Harris, even if it's load management, even if there's a little bit, does he play every game this year? I'm saying no. Now, Maier, perfect. Whoever, if it's Tommy Stevens or whoever else behind that. But it is just, we are learning early in training camp how fragile things can be in the CFL.
They're like that anywhere. It's not just the Roughriders. And you know what? Like I said earlier, the sky isn't falling. Now, Sean McEwen, he's a pro. He prepped. He was ready to play. He came in. And unfortunately, in the midst of a drill, tweaked something, for lack of a better term, right? That's tough. It happens. And it happens to everyone. Like Dalton Schoen is just coming back with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, for instance, right? He was lost for the entire year last year. Now, when it comes to offensive linemen, I'm bang on with you, Stephen, and the fact that it's frustrating, and the fact that you just keep looking and, oh my gosh, another one just went down. It was at times disbelievable. Like you wouldn't believe it ever. And to tell you the truth right now, where it's at, I don't think the sky is falling. There's enough depth on the roster. There was going to have to be some very difficult decisions made along the offensive linemen because, like it or lump it, the Riders were not going to take 17 O-linemen into the regular season with them. So there is some depth, there is some talent, and there is some development that is happening. And don't count Edwin Harrison out, right? The offensive line coach is the whisperer. Look what he did last year.
No, I wouldn't count anybody out and all that. And I think still we're deep. It's promising. I think I'm more on the other side. It's like, Barney, slow down. A lot can happen. We're finding that out.
Temper this. Okay, because I don't know if you guys watched that preseason game yesterday. One thing I saw to the Calgary Stampeders, and you never know who was playing for the BC Lions. There's a lot of guys with name bars never seen before. But the one thing about the Stamps, they played fast, they played crisp, they weren't taking a lot of penalties for whatever reason. Dickinson had them dialed in, and I don't think it's going to be a cake. And that's without Big Play VA, who also likes to throw bad interceptions, mind you. It's rattled around. So it is like everybody has got it dialed up. And that's where I was like, let's just play a few, even the preseason games first before we start booking Albert Street. We'll rent a tent from Prairie Land Rentals for the Grey Cup parade. Just give us a couple of weeks before we put the deposit down, okay? Just get us through the preseason. Let's see how this plays out.
Just to jump on that point for 1 second, and I completely 100% agree with what you're saying, but back to that Calgary BC game yesterday, the Calgary Stampeders, again, they're talking, it's rebuild mode, right? They had 33 players on their roster yesterday that have never played the Canadian football game before yesterday. That was their first game, and the BC Lions really helped them out by taking over 128 yards in penalties in the first half.
It's like they won. It's like they won a chance to go play from Pete's Drive-In. But so on that Prairie Land Rentals, Greg up in Saskatoon texted in, little tongue in cheek. He said, "Do you see the preseason game in BC versus Calgary last night? It looked so Bush League, almost like a high school game."
Oh, it did. That stadium, wherever they were playing, I'm like, this is, and I laughed. They're like, we need a 10th team. No, you don't. You need a stadium, a real stadium somewhere, and then you can put a team. But that looked like it was a glorified college-ish game, right? With the way that the stands are set up and stuff. But I said, for all of the Stampeder players that had never played Canadian football before, with all the rules, and they're intricate compared to American, Dave Dickinson had them dialed in because they were not the penalty machine that BC was, which made I went, oh, no, I don't want to see that. I wanted to see the Stamps be a mess all over the place. Although that Hundley didn't play well at quarterback, dude is not necessarily accurate. Maybe it was his receivers, but I'm like, they actually look like they put in the prep work.
I didn't watch it, but you're painting a picture here. Like, did they all have the same color pants and helmets and stuff, or was it like a mismatch like that too, like the North-South game, high school style?
It was really weird because they were wearing red pants, red jerseys, and the Lions were wearing their darks too, which is really weird because usually one team is light, one is dark. I'm not as a Stamps.
If you're colorblind, that's a tough day. I got one of my best friends is colorblind. Oh, he is. It's like, yeah, it's hard. Boys are telling us we got a break. Dave's going to take a break. He'll join us in hour 2 after Arash, and we'll get more from training camp. Thanks, Dave. See you. Talk to you in a bit.
Sounds good.
Training camp reports are brought to you by Red Zone Sports Bar in Saskatoon, located directly behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. That's where Dave has been. Maybe
I bet you those water slides were buzzing this weekend at that Travel Lodge, just buzzing.
Oh, the Freddie was on in Saskatoon. The Fred Saskatchewan tournament, every hotel would have been booked in Saskatoon. Hotels in PA would have been booked. I don't know how many teams there is. It's crazy. We're going to get to more of that in our Clutch Performer. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming. Thanks to everyone who's hitting the like button and subscribe. Colson says thank you very much through YouTube. And as always, we are on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
With summer on the horizon, you're going to need somewhere to have family gatherings, fire up the barbecue, a place for the kids to play, get the dogs outside. There's nothing better than hanging out on the deck. Get decked out with the best deck around with the deck sale at Freeze Tallman. Get 15% off Trex composite decking, only purchased through Freeze Tallman. Then sip, talk, and bake in the sun. That's what summers were made for. Visit freezetallman.com or see them in Regina or Fort Capel.
Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
Truck Month has been extended at Capital Ford Lincoln. By popular demand, we're extending this event so you can take advantage of massive savings on our awesome selection of vehicles. Get into a brand new 2025 Ford F-150. We're offering savings up to $14,000. Or finance one for as low as 0% over 72 months OAC. Or check out a brand new 2025 Bronco Sport. Leases are going for as little as $99 a week plus tax. Only for a limited time at Capital Ford Lincoln in Regina.
That's it, mister. No more chances. You're in big trouble. No!
There's hot water that we don't want to be in, and then there's hot water that we do want to be in, like a nice hot bath. Get a Bradford white water heater from Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals and get the hot water your family needs. With short-term flexible contracts, Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals keeps you in hot and soft water. Call 522-5866. If your garage door is running a little rough, you don't need to be talked into something that you don't need.
Sir, what you need is the new gigantic-esque, voluminous, astronomical, ginormous, gargantuan, exquisite air garage.
Just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in business for many, many doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Wait. With me, you get a little garage door keychain. Please.
Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
We'll come back with more Rider talking a bit. Thanks to Sask Lotteries for sponsoring the Tuesday Sports Cage, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation. All right, text messages are coming in about the Leafs. People just want to pile on the Leafs. Rightly so.
Yep.
Unless you're like the diehard Leafs fan, if you're in limbo, guy or girl, you're not really rooting for the Leafs, are you? Like, it's kind of like you either really like the Leafs or you despise them. And what happened in Game 7 and the Mitch Marner thing that's going around now and all that, like Arash is coming up in hour 2. I want to know what the mood is like in Toronto, like on the streets, like boots on the ground. But Maz, talk about a disappearing act. And Mitch Marner, I cannot see ever wanting to play anywhere like Toronto. That includes probably every Canadian market ever again. Why would you?
Why would you? Just go disappear, make your money. On Friday night, Florida had a lot of chances. I'm like, they're not going to win. They're not going to win. All the pressure was on Florida. But then once it shifted to Game 7, I'm like, the Panthers are going to be cool as a cucumber. They know how to win these games. All the pressure's back on the Leafs. If you look at Game 5 and Game 7, the Leafs scored 2 goals. They gave up 12. And okay, but here's one guarantee I can make. At Mosaic Stadium, maybe it's my Ukrainian thriftiness and the economy that we live in. I will never throw beer on a playing surface because it costs a lot. And I will never throw my Rider jersey, no matter how angry I am. You know what these things cost? Not a chance.
Okay.
Not a chance.
Stephen A. Smith from ESPN never talks about hockey.
Ever.
He talked about the Toronto Maple Leafs this morning. This is funny.
Those Toronto Maple Leafs right there are the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. The Dallas Cowboys of Canada. Just failures on an epic level every year.
That's funny.
Everybody's talking about it. Dallas at least won in the 90s. Like, come on. And then, okay, we got this. We got Brad Marchand. Marchand and Kachuk.
They're trolling. Beautifully trolling.
Very well job on the troll. Yeah, trolling here. Check it out.
Really a lot of pleasure in torturing this fan base and this team. And I'm wondering if that's the case, if you take any more pleasure in beating these guys than you do anyone else.
You never take for granted winning. You know, winning is the most incredible feeling. And on any night, it's not easy to win in this league. But I think the thing about Toronto is their fans are very in your face, and they're in your face, right? So they're aggressive and they let you hear it all the time, and it's just fun to interact. You know, I think everybody that knows me, you guys have all seen, like I interact with a lot of fans, and I enjoy that part of it. Like we're out there, we're living a dream that a lot of us never thought would ever really become reality. And it's like, it's a job and it's tough and there's expectations and from the media, from the players, from the staff, the ownership, the fans. But, there's moments that you need to enjoy. Like careers fly by, and like I've been in it a long time and I've been very fortunate, and it's almost over. Right. And like,
yeah. So just about Toronto, and then Tkachuk went on Spitting Chicklets. And then he just was like, the pressure those guys are under and playing here and all that.
I know.
Like Mitch Marner, you said, like, just go get lost. What was your thing that you said in the pre-meeting about Anaheim? You're paying high tax anyway?
Go tuck in to Anaheim, get $12 million a year. Quenneville's a good coach. You may never win anything. You're used to paying high taxes in Ontario. You'll pay high taxes in California, but you will become anonymous. You can play hockey. No one's ever going to catcall your wife, say anything mean to you at the mall, and you can just go live out your existence because you don't want that smoke. And I don't blame him. Austin Matthews, 1 goal, doesn't cut it. And the other thing, too, Brad Treliving, you wrecked the Calgary Flames with your dumb deals. Everybody thought Bill Zito was an idiot for the Jonathan Huberdeau deal. No, Bill Zito's a genius. And then they let Johnny
He
walk
looks
for
psycho,
nothing.
though.
Sure he does. But Marner's walking away, and the Leafs are going to get absolutely zero. So this happened on Treliving's watch again. And right now, fans don't care because they're really mad at Mitch. But when that all calms down, you're going to realize, now take that money and go buy 3 $5 million players. Don't spend all 15 on one.
Yes.
That's what you need.
Yes.
You don't need another high-end talent. Matthew Nyes is going to get $9 million.
And I'm watching social media yesterday, and they're putting all the places that Marner could go. Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal. It's like, put yourself in his shoes. Whatever job you're in, if you just every day you get hammered and beat on and beat down and hammered and beat. And
I don't know what that's like.
And then your wife gets hammered and beat on, and your kids and all that. And then someone offers you a job somewhere where you can wear short pants all year long and be just a person, and same job, probably more money, you're going to stay in the place that beats you down every day? No. And if I wouldn't be surprised if Austin Matthews says, let's figure out a way out of this. I'm good. These Canadian people are crazy in this market. I'll go play wherever. Send me to the Mammoth.
I always thought when it was up, he would end up back in the States somewhere, maybe in
Absolutely.
Phoenix.
Like, do you think
you can only take so much?
Do you think Brady Tkachuk's going to sign a long-term deal in Ottawa? Again, put yourself in his shoes.
No,
his brother plays in Sunrise.
I know, and the other thing too is, have you ever seen Austin Matthews ever happy giving an interview to the media? Ever? Like things are good? No, never, ever. At least with the Tkachuk brothers, you'll see them smile every once in a while.
We'll be big Marner fans next year, though, at the Olympics. That's the only thing. We can go more on this in hour 2. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to go a quick break. When we come back, we're talking Memorial Cup with the voice of the Medicine Hat Tigers, who have punched their ticket. It is a Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
It'll be take me out to the ball game or take me down to the rink before you know it. And Extreme Hockey and Sport will have you ready for everything this season. You'll be all set for the Ball Diamond with team kits, bats, gloves, accessories, and training products in stock. And of course, they've got everything to get you geared up for spring hockey. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered. 1425 McIntyre Street and the Pro Shop, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
Employee pricing has arrived at Crestview Chrysler with the 100 Years in Canada event. That means $99 per week on a new 2025 Jeep Compass. Financing as low as 0% for 72 months on select Ram 1500s. Save up to $26,000 on the new Dodge Durango Hellcat. Or get into a new 2024 Dodge Hornet for as low as $38,995. Take your pick, boss. It's employee pricing. Only for a limited time at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. Powered by Prairie Land Rentals. They've got everything you need for your projects. 600 Albert Street. PrairieLandRental.com. It's time for the Sports Ticker. Brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. For all your hot water needs, call on Reliance Heath today.
News out of Rider training camps with the sports ticker. Injuries again, and they re-signed Noah Zaire on the offensive line. We'll catch up with Dave again in hour 2. NHL, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final tonight, Florida at Carolina. Other NHL news, Boston and GM Don Sweeney agreeing to a 2-year deal extension there. World Championships Canada 5-3 over Sweden. Quarterfinals are on Thursday, where they'll take on Denmark after a crazy shootout win for the Danes against Germany. Blue Jays play hardball tonight at home against San Diego. NBA Conference Finals Game 1, Minnesota at OKC. And let's not forget about our Saskatchewan Rush, forced to Game 3 in the NLL Finals with an 11-10 win over Buffalo. Winner take all, Game 3 in Buffalo. Coming up Saturday, 2:30 Saskey time. Go Rush. That is your sports ticker in hour 1 for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Keeping you in hot and soft water. Call on Reliance. In the sports ticker, as I could have mentioned, Memorial Cup starts Friday. Unfortunate news for the Melfort Mustangs losing the Centennial Cup final to Calgary. They ran out of gas. That's a tough tournament to win. Very tough. Trevor Blevins, love the guy. I've known him forever. He lost 1 as a player, and I think now 3 as a coach. He's going to get his, or he's going to get a really good job somewhere if he wants to leave Melfort. Another extremely tough tournament to win, especially for the West. When was it? 2014? Was that the last time WHL won the Mem Cup? Fact check. Is the Memorial Cup it's such a grind, and then Western teams seem to be it's more of a grind. So we got on the Western Pizza guest hotline, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. Pick up a Western Pizza wheel tonight or any of the Greek favorites you like. Voice of the Medicine Hat Tigers, Will Bryant, is joining us. Will, thanks for taking some time. It's a busy week for you, short week, as you head to the Mem Cup.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, guys. Short week for sure. Quick turnaround. I caught up on the slate just in the nick of time to lose it all again. So, but more than happy to do this.
Starting in, I guess, September, this was always how it was supposed to go down for this Medicine Hat Tigers team. And then you add the likes of Tanner Molendyk. This has been the script. Now, you guys go to the Memorial Cup a little bit banged up. But where do you feel this team is going into this 4-team tournament?
I think they're exactly where you want to be. They have gotten through the playoffs in relatively good health. Obviously, there's a couple bumps and bruises late in round 4 in the finals against Spokane. However, they were able to overcome them. They lost Gavin McKenna for a pair of games, won both. Caden Lindstrom didn't play in Game 4. That was planned as a part of his rehab. They were out Schaefer Gordon-Carroll, who's been a great rookie centerman. And this team has overcome. And they've dealt with adversity all season long, which is kind of the key entering this tournament is everyone's great. Everyone's champions. Everyone's won. Even Rimouski, who's hosting, they still made the final and made a series of it with Moncton. So, these are 4 tremendous teams, 3 of them in which are champions, including the Medicine Hat Tigers. And you're going to encounter adversity in these games. Things aren't always going to go your way. And they've shown an ability to overcome those, whether it's injuries, whether it's they get down early in a hockey game, the ability to come back. And, I think most importantly in all, it's a brotherhood in that locker room. And I think they are as ready to go as any team can be.
I know that the Tigers opened the tournament on Friday against Rimouski. I want to know who you think, from the outset here, the marquee matchup is. I'm saying the London Knights for a couple of reasons. A, because on Spit and Chicklets, since that podcast started, Biz has always talked about they've had the highest payroll in junior hockey. They've been paying off players for years, going back well beyond Corey Perry. But the Dale Hunter factor. Here the London Knights are again in the Memorial Cup. All they do is win. What matchup intrigues you the most as we're sitting here now, not in Rimouski, Quebec?
I mean, I think just from the outside perspective, the matchup that stands out is the London Knights. I mean, just based on, you can just draw parallels, down the roster and onto the bench with Dale Hunter and Willie Desjardins between the pipes, and Harrison Menigan and Austin Elliott, who's a former WHL netminder. That's a fun storyline. Former of I believe it was Saskatoon Blades with Molendyke and Volatovsky. There's another storyline. And then you've got Sam Dickinson, you've got Tanner Molendyke, you've got Gavin McKenna, you've got Easton Cowan. So the parallels almost draw themselves in that sense. But I also have to admit I'm more familiar with the London Knights than I am the Moncton Wildcats or Rimouski Oceanic, so I can't exactly speak to them quite yet. I'm doing my research, but I'm not quite up to snuff there. But, I mean, the storylines seem to write themselves, between Medicine Hat and London. And with that being said, I'm sure that is known by both of those QMJHL teams, and they might use that as a little extra fuel and a little extra motivation in the games against Medicine Hat and London, not that they aren't already motivated enough.
Hey, Will, out of 100, what percentage is Gavin McKenna in realistic terms here?
Are we seeing?
What is he 100%? Is he 80%? I heard when we were watching the game, when I was watching the Spokane, the final game there, they were saying, he's almost playing on one leg, which I think is a little drastic.
It was drastic, yeah.
Yeah, is he okay?
He's good. Oh, he's good.
Okay.
I mean, he's skating full speed in practice.
Perfect.
I don't think anyone is 100% at this point in the postseason, but I'd say he's probably as close as you can be, and with a week off, I don't think that it was anything too severe. So I can't imagine he'll be anything other than his normal amazing self come Friday.
How excited was I saw the picture, but how excited were the guys on the team for Menigan to sign his 3-year entry-level pro contract the other day?
Oh, I mean, over the moon. Menigan, Oasis Weisblatt, our captain, describes Harrison Menigan as the heartbeat of that locker room. And it really is shown just in the way that team embraces him. They love him. Harrison Menigan just posted on Instagram and basically is just saying, these are all my brothers. This is my second family. This is my family. And, that's true. So everyone over the moon for him, super excited. And, knowing the guy off the ice, an incredibly great guy, and couldn't have happened to a better person who's been through such a turbulent last 3 months.
If anyone doesn't know the story, he loses his dad unexpectedly and just so sudden. Did you almost, Will? Did you almost tear up a little bit when Oasis Weisblatt handed or got Harrison to come in and lift the trophy first?
I mean, it's hard not to get choked up watching that. The call I probably had the most trouble getting through would have been the shutout game 1 against Swift Current. That was almost overwhelming. But no, I mean, what a gesture from Oasis Weisblatt to tell Harrison, come lift this trophy, because really it had been a motto for that team, do it for Harry. Everyone I talked to said, we're doing it because obviously we want to win, but we're doing it for Harry. And you even see that on the bench. The coaches will be wearing pins, 35 with Dad written above it. So it's become not just even a motto for this team, but even has spread to the city where he's almost become an adopted son of Medicine Hat.
Let's just get the Memorial Cup for the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Hey, and Will, we're all huge Tigers fans for the next 8 days, so we're
big
all
time.
We'll take it. Brilliant. We'll take it.
I'm getting my Hunter Shinkarik jersey out. Different spelling, but I'm still going to get it out. Will, keep those pipes. Take care of them over the next week. You got a lot of hockey to call. It's going to be exciting. Thanks so much for doing this.
Anytime, guys.
That is Will Bryant, voice of the Medicine Hat Tigers. Maz, we can talk about the Menigan thing in hour 2. It's unbelievably heartbreaking. That is an hour in the books. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
108 years, 10,200 storms, 63.4 billion insured. Yeah, this definitely ain't their first rodeo. Municipal Hail Insurance, Prairie Roots, Local Trust, Saskatchewan Proud, and providing coverage at cost. Without fail, Municipal Hail gives accurate and timely loss adjustments and prompt payments, cost-effectively reducing your risk. Storms are unpredictable. Municipal Hail Insurance isn't. municipalhail.ca.
Let there be light. Introducing Green Frog Canada.
Did someone say Green Frog?
Not that Green Frog. Green Frog Solar Systems. Great for communities, small towns, city parks, and bike trails. As you walk along the path, the light brightens, then dims as you walk away, saving energy and allows you to see further. Proven to work in Saskatchewan weather and dark sky compliant. Federal grant is available.
Turns out it is easy being green.
GreenFrogCanada.ca, a division of Metal Man. You think, we do.
Another one bites the dust? What a weird saying. Are they swallowing the dust? And why is it so dusty in the first place? So many questions, but what I don't question is where I get my tires. When your vehicle needs the right tires, see your local Cooper tire dealer. Your local Cooper tire dealer carries Cooper Cobra Instinct tires. They bring your car to a shorter stop on wet roads and have decisive maneuvering and sporty performance. Dust yourself off and ask your local Cooper tire dealer about Cooper Cobra Instinct tires today.
Truck Month is back at Capital GMC, and the massive savings have arrived. Lease a 2025 GMC Sierra for just $99 a week, or finance a Sierra for as low as 0%. Save over $13,000 on a brand new GMC Sierra 2500 HD Denali. Or check out something certified pre-owned. They all come with manufacturer's warranty, roadside assistance, and more. Get the best deals, get the best experience. It's Truck Month at Capital GMC in Regina. Lease payment applicable with $5,500 down payment. See dealer for details.
We are 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news. Sask Power is investing $10 million to improve the electrical system in Regina's downtown. The upgrade will replace aging equipment, including underground cables and duct banks. Sask Power says this work will help reduce outages and speed up repairs when problems happen. Crews will work along 11th Avenue from April to October and on Saskatchewan Drive in September and October. Sask Power says it will work with the city to keep service disruptions as low as possible. The wildfire situation remains serious in Saskatchewan, with 14 active fires as of this morning. 4 are contained, 4 are not, and 6 are still being assessed. The Shoe and Camp fires, both uncontained, have burned over 50,000 hectares combined. Damage has already closed 2 campgrounds in Narrow Hills Provincial Park for the season. Despite rain in the south, conditions in the north remain extremely dry. Premier Scott Moe says more firefighting equipment is on the way, but northern areas urgently need rain. Canada Post workers could walk off the job as early as Friday morning. The union representing the employees gave the company a strike notice yesterday. Canadian Press business reporter Chris Reynolds says a strike would mean Canada Post would no longer accept any new mail or parcels.
For the folks worried about continuing to receive social assistance checks, those will flow through the mail if whether or not a strike occurs. That'll happen during a strike, but everything else will grind to a halt.
One of the main sticking points appears to be weekend work. The Crown Corporation is arguing in favor of bringing on part-timers, while the union says only full-timers should get the work. The head of the Topeka Chamber of Commerce is in Ottawa this week on a trade mission to woo Canadian government and business officials. The visit comes as businesses in Kansas look to shore up ties with Canada amid an escalating trade war with the U.S. Juliet Abdel says she has had many positive conversations with Canadians, but she's concerned over the anger directed at Americans in general over the White House's aggressive trade actions.
There's still a decline in tourists that have come from Canada to the U.S. pretty significantly. There's still a number of Canadians, while you all agree with us and we want to keep our relationship intact despite government to government, because this is more business, people to people, there are still some that are very angered by what's going on at the federal. And that's what we want to avoid a little bit of.
Kansas is tied to Canada through trade in agriculture, auto manufacturing, and chemicals. The state boasts 98 Canadian-owned companies operating locally, including Bombardier and Great West Financial. And rain didn't stop crowds from enjoying the parade opening this year's Cathedral Village Arts Festival in Regina yesterday. The 6-day event features nearly 400 vendors and new programming like Fringe Survivor, a play with local performers, and crafting and music events at the new YWCA building. Organizers say added security measures are in place this year, including barriers and more staff. The festival runs until May 24th. Visit the CVAF website for event details. That is your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
It's time for Play Now, now. Play Now is Saskatchewan's only safe and secure gambling site. Operated by Sega, Play Now offers over 600 slot games, your favorite live table games, and the Play Now Sportsbook. For a limited time, enter promo code SASKAG100 for $100 in casino free play with a $25 deposit and playthrough. That's SASKAG100 for $100 of free play on your favorite slot games.
Must be 19 plus. Use your game sense.
Step on it. Those coppers are gaining on us. What? Who tipped them off? Beats me. Nobody knew we were robbing the flooring store today.
Freeze! Get them up. Where's the flooring?
It's in the trunk.
Right on.
70s cop shows knew how important good flooring was. Flooring Superstore knows it too. They've got it all, from vinyl plank, vinyl tile, hardwood, laminate, and everything in between.
Book 'em, boys.
Quality floor covering at the best price. Flooring Superstore Regina.ca.
Weather brought to you by Line X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks. 1865 McCarra Street. Weather tonight, rain showers possibly mixing with wet flurries, low down to 2 degrees. Tomorrow, cloudy, isolated showers and a high of +10. Tomorrow night, cloudy again, isolated showers finally ending and a low down to 1. Thursday, partly sunny at times, high of 15. And looking ahead to Friday, partly sunny, spotty showers, about 30% chance, and a high of 16.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line X, make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
The deck sale is on at Freeze Tallman. Get 15% off Trex Composite Decking. That's 15% off. Only purchased through Freeze Tallman. If you got a deck project coming up, then you're going to want to head to Freeze Tallman for their deck sale happening from May 12th to June 14th. That's 15% off Trex Composite Decking. Only purchased through Freeze Tallman. Visit freezetallman.com or see them in Regina or Fort Capel.
Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. Maz is with me today on this Tuesday. The sheriff is in, and Coulson. Curtis is off for a few days. How this hour is going to go down, we're going to have Arash Madani here in a bit. We'll have Clutch Performer, training camp report. Dave will be back in. We'll get back into more on the WHL final later. Maz, Prairie Land Rentals text line. Small job, big job, doesn't matter. You can rent a spade or a skid steer. 600 Albert Street. No name. I can't stop laughing at Leaf fans who can't afford a house and can't afford a girlfriend, but they'll burn their $250 jersey in a fire pit.
I know.
Because some millionaires didn't do something right. I
guarantee you, Rider Nation, and there's a lot of me out there. I don't care how mad I get at this football team. I'm not burning merch with what merch is costing, especially the Obsidian stuff we just bought. Not a chance. I'll get over it. I've had decades to get over stuff. I'll get over it. Not burning anything.
Bob said, laughing at Leaf fans. Rose sent in a picture. Thanks, Rose. Basically trolling the Leafs. Who else here? Andy. Leaf fans are crazy. Marner is so gone. Absolutely. Kevin, not much. He says not much tree living could do about Marner. He tried trading him at the deadline, but Marner told him to pound sand and wouldn't waive his no trade. But I wouldn't bring him back. I think it's mutual. They're not going to get anything for him. And then Paul, he's a Leafs fan. He just hates our guts. He absolutely hates us. It's tough, Paul. Tough year. Maybe next year's your year, though. Let's talk to Arash more about this. Here we go.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Any of your neighbors burn a jersey or any memorabilia? Did you see any of that, Arash, in the last 24 hours?
No fire trucks yet. I live around the corner from the Leafs practice facility, too. So there have been no ambulances, no fire trucks, no police cars. I mean, I guess there should have been some missing persons reports out there, but it's amazing, guys. It's amazing.
Now what?
Didn't we do this a year ago on this show? The postmortem.
Well,
this is a yearly, and nothing changed.
We should have pulled last year's clip. I was thinner, you had more hair. It would have been funny.
It's not just last year. And look, this is not on Matthews, Marner, Nylander. It's not on Berube. But I don't know if there's just something rotten in the water, guys. I really am starting to wonder. Between 2006 and 2016, they only got to the playoffs once. And the 1 year they got in, they blow a 4-1 Game 7 lead to Boston. Then, loss in round one, loss in round one, loss in round one, lose in qualifying round. That was the COVID bubble to Columbus. They blow a 3-1 series lead the following year, then one and done, out in the second round, out in the first round, and this time they blow a 2-zip series lead. This is in the foundation. This is in the roots. This is in the water. This is in the oxygen. There's something wrong here. And they're obviously completely different teams with completely different management from, whatever that was, 18, 19 years ago and 10 years ago. But 8 years into this Matthews-Marner regime, there is nothing to show for it.
Predictions on what happens to the core four?
I say Marner and Tavares are gone. Marner's going to sign for whatever the max money is going to be on the market this summer. Most money, most term. Tavares is probably going to get 3 years times 6 somewhere else. And they're going to have to retool. I wonder about Morgan Rielly's future. I don't think Morgan Rielly's to blame for any of this, but if you're going to replacing 2 players in and out and some depth guys isn't going to change things. It just feels like there's more to it that needs to be done.
If you're Austin Matthews, why do you still want to be do you say, hey, maybe let's try and see what you can get for me out there? See anybody.
You can't, Barney.
New York Rangers, how you doing?
When you accept the C, there's something that comes with that, isn't there? Isn't there an obligation or responsibility 1 year in? No.
Not show friends, it's show business.
Yeah, not with today's athletes. Now, Arash, I want to get your thoughts. John Tavares, be smart. If Steven Stamkos was smart, he could have stayed with the Lightning if he would have took reasonable money. All right? Realize who you are, because he was invisible.
I disagree with that, Mass. It was an insulting contract offer.
Sure, but Tavares was part of the Invisible Four in these last couple of games. But the bigger thing that I want to know, the Shanna plan has been in place for, is it 10 or 11 years now? Does Brendan Shanahan...
The Shanna scam?
The Shanna
scam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the first domino that needs to fall, that he exits stage right and then let Tree Living clean up whatever this mess is?
Yeah, I think in the structure of MLSE, and a lot's going to change now that Rogers is going to go over and take over. But I just think that they're going to be without team presidents moving forward. They've already started that with the Argos and Toronto FC. Bill Manning's out. You have the GMs reporting directly into Keith Pelly, who runs MLSE. I would suspect that Brendan Shanahan's going to be gone. His pal John Collins, who used to be at the league office, he's now running the New York Islanders. Wouldn't surprise me if Shanahan goes over to run hockey ops for the Islanders now that Lou Lamoriello's gone. And then I don't think that they're going to replace Shanahan. I do think it's going to be Tree Living for at least another year, who's going to be entrusted with this. Cool. Great. Okay, then what? And remember, Brad Treliving was the one who 2 years ago, when he took the job, when he replaced Kyle Dubas, who said, no, we got to keep this going. It makes no sense to break up the core four, to break up this talented group and everything that we have. It was Treliving who kind of drove the bus on putting the C on Austin Matthews. So it was Treliving who hired Craig Berube. So under this kind of guise, suddenly all arrows are now pointed at Brad Treliving if things don't work out after next year.
Mm-hmm. With what Brad Marchand said, what Tkachuk said on Spitting Chicklets, do you think it'll never be as hard for the Leafs to attract some players now?
I just appreciate what trolls both of those guys are.
Oh, beautiful.
They're marvelous. Hockey needs more of that. Sports needs more of that. They know exactly what buttons to press, how to push them, how to squeeze the knife, how to just rub salt right there into the wound. They're going to have, I can just see Matthew Tkachuk on his, 8th White Claw on the 14th hole of a golf course this summer, out of nowhere, just repeating those lines that he used on Chicklets when he's out with the boys this summer. It's just so beautifully done. And for somebody who has no connection to Toronto, he understands how to antagonize that fan base incredibly.
Out of all of this, if there's one person that's really happy, it's Matthew Nye's agent, because Matthew Nyes is going to get himself a real nice raise this summer. He was by far the best Leaf in the playoffs. And when he got hurt in Game 6, and then it looked painful, he just gutted it out and he played Game 7. I'm like, you need about 19 more of that and you'll get what you want. But without you, there's only one of them. And then the other thing too, which I find was incredibly rich, is when Mitchie Babe decided to come over and yell at the bench, and it was the second period, and he had his helmet off and his hair's dry. He looked like he was in a Head and Shoulders commercial. He had flowing locks, not an ounce of sweat. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
I sweat more on the United flight on Sunday than that.
I will say this about Nyes. Not only was he, look at this, Mitch Marner. Not only was Nyes the best player in the playoffs, I actually do believe this sincerely. Next to, along with, maybe just behind William Nylander, he was the best player on the Maple Leafs this season. It's not just the playoff performance that could get Nyes an offer sheet, and I know he scoffed it off today. He handled that properly. One way or another, that dude's getting paid this summer, and he's earned it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Marner, Tavares. They're the guy leaving the plant. Your buddy's got to stay and work overtime. They're like, catch you later, man. See you around.
And Barney, as you say that, I'm picturing the nuclear plant in Springfield with Homer and friends. Like the Toronto Maple Leafs, I get that the Simpsons have been running for whatever it's been, 35 years. It feels like the Maple Leafs are Simpsons adjacent for that entire run too, because they've been a complete fiasco, And I don't know who Mo is, but
Mo Sislick?
They have no shortage of Ned Flanders in suits in that organization. We'll tell you that much.
That one of the classic episodes was when Homer saves the meltdown by the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I was always more of a Shelbyville guy, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, now let's move on from the Leafs before some people do bad things to themselves. You predicted this, sir.
I think that the Oilers are going to roll Vegas. I think that I thought Edmonton's toughest out was going to be LA. Vegas, by the skin of their teeth, got by Minnesota. I don't see the Golden Knights having much left. I think this is Edmonton in a rout in this series.
Oh, write that down. Write that down, Colson. That's your hottest take of the season.
Okay, we'll take it.
All right. Well, let's see how we get to talk again.
I'm gonna open up my trusty phone and my trusty little app.
Yeah.
But things didn't go well with the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, so I'll do the most responsible thing there is out there, and that's to go chase.
Jeez, you're a stud.
I appreciated the deep yawn midway through my take, by the way, Barney. That was outstanding.
What? Barney was being insensitive about something? Hold on. Run back the tape. Colson, can you see that in slow motion?
That was good.
Arash, do you not know Barney's going for a physical tomorrow? He's very emotional today. He doesn't know what the results are going to be. This could be our final segment together. We don't know. A lot of unknowns right now.
Cue the green day.
Sure, your bloodstream is full of chicken wing sauce. We weren't able to get a complete diagnosis because there's too much chicken wing sauce.
I did have Waffle House Sunday morning with the boy in Denver, though, so that
I like it.
I'm glad my blood work was done before. No, beautiful. But good on you predicting that. I have no idea how big of a stab in the dark that was. But this Oilers team, I can't figure it out. I don't care if they're playing Dallas. I don't care if they're playing Florida again. I don't care if they're playing the Soviets from 72. They just are getting it done, and they're not even really leaning that much on McDavid and Draisaitl. And now they're going to probably get Ekholm back.
Yeah, well, the good news is if they played the Soviets from 72, they'd probably be a little over the hill. But what I really appreciated was Stuart Skinner saying that he played with peace in that elimination game against Vegas. Like, think of what Skinner's had to kind of like the mental gymnastics he's had to go through. You're the guy, you're not the guy, you're the guy, you're not the guy. We're going to the playoffs, you're not the guy. And then we're going to make you the guy, and you're going to win us a 1-0 overtime game to slay the dragon and get over the demons. And like once you do that, once you're able to, put together performances like these under those kind of circumstances, under that kind of adversity, I'm buying stock in Stuart Skinner for this round. That's why.
Just like I said about that. Like 1 minute they are burning you, the next minute they're praising you. Poor guy. He seems like very, very cool as a cucumber. 1 minute your agent's calling saying, hey, California Closets is pulling the contract. They don't want you anymore. Then the next they're doubling down on him.
Yeah. And you know what that does? Like, think of the confidence now in that dressing room that the team has, that the guys have for Skinner right now.
I said on the show last week, the only problem I have with the Oilers is they don't have any players from Saski on the roster. But they do have two Saski weapons coaching this thing in Gulletson from Hudson Bay and Chris Knobloch from Imperial, Saskatchewan. So that passes the smell test for me. I'm okay if the Oilers do end up doing whatever they're going to do. But no Saski guys on the roster? Come on.
Yeah. I was just checking to see if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins even came into Saskatchewan airspace at some point in his career, but no.
Nope.
Born in BC, played junior in Red Deer.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Nothing.
Can we? So Saturday, that Stars Jets game, when we all read about Scheifele's dad passing away, and then he's going to play, and then all of that, and then you see them, and then how it turns out he's in the box, they score. Like everybody, if you didn't put your head down and go, man, I don't know if it can get any worse for this guy. So when you'd mentioned Skinner and feeling all of that, then you have Scheifele. That's real life. All right. That's a real life situation. Skinner, if your feelings are hurt, you're a pro athlete. You've been pulled before. You're going to get pulled. To see that he scores the goal, plays with class, does the hand. I would have been okay if he skated off the ice and didn't do the handshake line, but he does it.
I bet from the moment that break goal went in and Scheifele dropped his head in the penalty box to the time he got home. And apparently, I mean, if this is true, the owner of the Dallas Stars apparently charters a flight home to Kitchener.
Tom Gulliardi.
Yeah, Vancouver guy. I bet Mark Scheifele couldn't tell you 5 things that happened in his... From the time he dropped his head to the time he got home, it must have been a blur. That's when it all must have just hit home, like, wow. And then he probably was almost, sleepwalking through that entire thing. Who really knows?
Because you think about it, and these guys, and Maz, you're in the same boat as me. I don't know you, Arash, but when you lose a parent, right, and you're in the NHL, these guys talk to their parents all the time, and they probably, like you said, it hit him after that. It's like no one's picking up that. He's not picking up the phone call.
Right. Yeah, it's really, really real, and then to play through it, and those always go one of two ways: either the player's a mess, or the player's able to just find this other gear out of nowhere and compartmentalize. And Scheifele had a hell of a game, and he had a goal, and all those kinds of things. But just another reminder that life isn't a Disney movie.
Do you anything more in NHL, Maz, or can we move to flag football? Because we're going to talk to Glenn Sudter about this later. It's a big week, Arash, for flag football.
Huge.
I coach it. Played it, love it. I personally don't think you are going to see the professional quarterbacks play the way people think. It is a totally different game. I recommend people go watch YouTube and watch the U.S. versus Italy championship game from 2022 or the championship game from Finland last year and watch how the game is played. And then tell me if Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or Nathan Rourke or whoever, their game can translate into that, because it is different.
Now, what about non-quarterbacks?
Yes.
What about Justin Jefferson?
Yes.
What about Tyreek Hill?
I think a receiver that can throw the ball, but a receiver like Tyreek Hill, anybody fast and shifty, and your cornerbacks,
right,
would translate.
And that's where here's where I felt I started getting into the wording of this. I think this is interesting, is that each NFL team can only have one player on the Team USA roster. That's part of this. Or I guess Team Canada roster for that matter. There's going to be a lot of talk about the CFL involvement, and we'll see if it happens or if it doesn't. But there's enough talent, Canadian talent in the NFL spread out across the league where we'd be able to have skilled guys playing for Team Canada. Now, if you're able to add a couple of CFL players, that's just gravy. In my mind, I think it's important for the CFL to have a presence in the Olympics. I think it's vital for the CFL to have a presence in the Olympics. But, if you're talking about receivers and corners, those are the two most athletic positions on the field. And so that's where it's going to get really interesting. And it's so hard to compare or even predict right now, because the star in 2025 is not going to be the star in 2028. Let's remember that.
Somebody's going to throw out Dak Prescott.
Right.
But the most interesting thing, and you mentioned the name Tyreek Hill, by 2028, how many, if he has 10 kids now, how many kids legitimately would Tyreek Hill have in 3 more years? I say over under of 15. That's a lot of tickets.
Is he still playing? How old is he? Oh, he's going to be 35 almost.
He's still playing at a high level.
He's going to be almost 35. That's a lot of Waffle House visits.
What's Marvin Harrison Jr., for instance, going to be by then? Jeremiah Smith, who's going to come out of the draft, is he going to be somebody like it's?
What about Travis Hunter?
I think Travis Hunter.
Shiloh Sanders.
Shiloh Sanders. This is a legitimate question too. If you're going into a contract year, are you going to put yourself out there in case of injury?
No. That's not how those guys, I don't think. That's not how they're wired.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It's a big week though. All right. Let's chat Thursday.
Let's do it.
What's your prediction for the Game 1 Oilers Stars?
Game 1 Oilers Stars, I'm going Edmonton.
Hey.
I think this is gonna be a hell of a series. I think this is gonna be the best series of the the whole playoff. Look, you always want to see a Canadian team in the playoffs, but I would not hate a Carolina-Dallas Stanley Cup final only because I like chaos, and the Mikko Rantanen thing would be awesome.
See, I'm of the Maz. I don't know where you land. I'm of the crew, and there are some of us. I don't give a rip if a Canadian team's in the final.
Me neither.
I just don't.
Earn it. Win your way in. Earn it.
Yeah.
And then go win it. And the other thing, too, Dallas looks like the fun. I've been to a game at the old Reunion Arena in Dallas, not to this new one.
Oh.
Dallas looks to be the best hockey atmosphere going. When there's 8 minutes left in the third, my wife's like, is everybody standing up? I'm like, oh yeah. And that's the thing. Intelligent hockey fans, just a awesome atmosphere. And this whole Pete DeBoer, 6 conference finals, and he's been fired twice in there, which is nuts.
But make sure to call the owner Mr.
Thursday, my man.
Talk to you guys. Yep.
Coast to coast with Arash Madani for our good friend Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian. Who's Brian's team again? NHL team. Figure that out. Maz, there's some good stuff coming in here. John the Habs fan has entered the chat.
Oh. John, you don't have any room to talk. You only made it to round 1.
No.
You got to backseat this.
Hey, Barney.
I'm not saying we don't like him.
John the Habs fan here. This country needs another national holiday. Annual Laughs Elimination Day. This country is celebrating today. Paul's still losing his mind. I love it.
I felt 10% bad, 90%. This is what the internet needs. It's a nice distraction from all the politics and everything that's going on, just to see this. Now, Nick Alberga, who we had on the show about 3 weeks ago, a month, is part of LeafsNation.com, and he does the Leafs morning take every day. We're going to get him back on because they're there. I want to get his take, but we got to let this settle for a bit because his partner, Jay Rosehill, who played for the Leafs, did a Marner rant last year after they got eliminated. And this Instagram reel, which kind of put him on the map, had like 150,000 views in no time. And he basically laid into Mitch saying, you got no heart.
And no sweat.
And no sweat.
That second period, I can't believe his hair was that dry. I never got that. Just when you're playing or even like rec games, it's like, how don't you sweat? It's hot in here. But anyway, okay, so how the rest of the hour? We're going to go to training camp after this break and talk to Dave. Darian Durant's usually on Mondays. Yesterday, Monday, for Campbell Safety Consulting. Darian's coming on tomorrow. 5 o'clock, we will have Glenn Sudter. Up to Rider training camp. When we come back, it is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Saturday is game day as the Riders take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Dunk and Tegan Whitco is at 11. The pregame show's at 1 and kickoff with Luke Mullender and I is at 2. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by UFA, Croft Electric, and Stars Lottery. Stream every moment of Rider football at sportscage.com.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
Backed by countless farmers and contractors, Fendt 1167 track tractor sets the standard for seeding, and it's available at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Featuring CVT transmission, 670 horsepower, 2 rear hydraulic pumps, and easy maneuvering. The Fendt 1167 track tractor is backed by a 3-year, 3,000-hour Gold Star warranty. Leaders drive Fendt. To learn more about making your crop successful, visit Nick's Service today, nickservice.com.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Dinner served.
What's this?
Pizza.
Looks like cardboard.
It is. Cut into a circle.
What?
Hope you're hungry.
You wouldn't order cardboard for dinner, and that's not what you get when you order from Western Pizza.
Think I'll order Western Pizza.
They've got their pizza down to perfection. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
Clutch time. Medicine Hat Tigers. My first one. Minigan in goal. What a performance. They're on to the Memorial Cup. I got another one, but Alan, the sheriff, you said you have one?
Yes, I do. It is Brock Lesnar's daughter, Maya Lesnar. She got her 4th straight shot put championship. She won it, and she won it over the long weekend.
Cool. Where about? Do you know where?
She represents Colorado State University.
Nice, good one. Colson, no, punching buttons. My last one is the Cross Lake Islanders. They won the Freddie Saskatchewan tournament up in Saskatoon. Massive tournament. Such a grind to win. The amount of hockey games you got to play. So the Cross Lake Islanders, another clutch. You know, I'll throw one out too to my boy Rome's. On his 14th birthday Sunday, he beat me on the golf course.
In what?
Golf course. He played the tees up, but still it was long. I was 84. He was 83. And I finished birdie. He would have beat me by more.
Did you guys take your golf clubs on this trip to Denver?
Absolutely. Always take.
If I was a baggage handler, okay. So one of the best things I ever saw was when my wife Abby and I don't think we were married yet. We went to Cancun, and we were waiting. Pardon?
Tarps off.
Wasn't a good look back then either. So we're kind of waiting for luggage. And they had frosted windows, but there was little panes where you could see through. And it was the best because these baggage handler guys were just throwing suitcases and golf clubs just on the tarmac. And then the dude had to throw it on the trailer. Like they didn't have that ramp thing. They were just throwing bags on. And if that was me, I worked one shift at the airport. I'd be gentle with baggage. I would be tossing golf clubs. Be like, oh, sorry. Did I do that?
I did that job when I was younger. I did that job. I was careful with everything, especially pets. You get to hang out with, you get to talk to the dogs, the doggos that people put underneath. I always felt bad for those things. And then when you, I don't know, when you'd get the manifest of what's coming in each compartment, in each bin or whatever, if it said HUM, that was a rough one. Because that's human remains.
Oh.
Yeah. Telling you, it worked. Worked.
Way
worked down there.
Way to take this segment on a dark left turn.
It's an informational program. Maz got lots of stories to share. Clutch performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey, Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. Lots of people still coming in, bashing the Leafs. Burn more jerseys. You guys are clowns. No one's saying. The King says, why would anyone want to play in Toronto? Paul's back at it. Paul's buzzing today. He's going on. So what are the stages? Is he still in denial? Denial, acceptance, what grievance? There's a grievance. I don't know what it is. He's going after what's Saskatchewan's NHL team. Has nothing to do. Okay, we don't have one. No, nor should we. And then he's going into Grey Cups. That the Argos have more Grey Cups than the Riders. Yada yada yada. Yeah, we are aware of that. Then he says no one wants to live in Regina. A lot of people don't. Some people do. This still doesn't change the fact the Leafs are massive disappointments.
The 5 stages of grief: denial, anger.
He's in anger.
Bargaining.
He's in
depression,
anger.
Acceptance. So yeah, he's in anger.
After anger, what is it?
Bargaining.
Okay, let's wait and see what he says here. And then after, I don't remember bargaining. Are you sure you're looking at the right thing?
Yeah, bargaining. Really?
Quick
I was going to say. Oh, good. We're getting professional psychological help from a Google search. Oh, Colson,
we're a sports show.
How is the paving stones in the backyard going at your rental that your landlord's not paying for? Because I can't let this go now because I can't.
So he just doesn't reply very well to our texts. I've met the guy several times. Decent guy, just not good about replying.
Paint the picture. Age?
I don't know.
Come on.
No, I genuinely don't know.
70 or 30?
I would put more 30. More like 30.
Bigger really? Gentleman?
No.
Sweatpants during the day or jeans?
Jeans. Looks
tucked
professional.
In t-shirt?
Tucked in, yeah. Looks professional.
So he's a carpenter. He can fix things.
I don't think he's a carpenter. He's more middle management vibes to me.
What does he drive?
SUV. I don't remember the brand. But to paint the picture of my house, front yard, lawn, pavement, that's all done.
Perfect.
I have to take care of it. Backyard, complete mud. I have a parking pad for my car and my wife's car.
Yeah.
But between that, it's all dirt.
Lucky you don't have a dog.
Yeah. So the last few days, as you can imagine, complete mud pit. This last week, they moved our garbage pickup to the back alley. So instead of just putting it on the front street, I now have to drag it through the mud in the backyard to the back alley. So all I said was, hey, can we just do a path along the fence that our neighbors just put up that I'm willing to bet he didn't go 50-50 on.
Ooh, shots fired. Nice. I like this. Go, Colson, more.
Willing to bet. Don't know. Willing to bet. But just put paving stones down the side there so we have a path from my back door to the alley, and then the bins are just easy, and I can get to my car without getting 3 inches of mud on my shoes.
What about just dropping a load of sand?
Even that.
Or, you know where you're going with this, and it's going to be unfortunate because you're going to be that skid on the block. He's going to drop pallets back there. He's just going to put pallets on top of the mud like you're at Country Thunder, and then you're going to have to walk on those.
That's all my neighbors already. There's like only half the block has their backyards done, so it wouldn't be out of place. But
you got the hillbilly deluxe landscaping going, hey, we stole some pallets from Home Depot. Just use these. And then when it dries up, that's firewood for the barbecue pit.
The big, thick blue, the Czech ones or whatever. Oh, yeah. That's bad news, man, because it's wet out there. And, yeah, I feel for you.
Yeah.
If I could help. Anyone got a load of sand and you just drop in Colson's backyard? Sand would be better.
Well, even putting paving stones down, I'd want to put crusher duster sand down first, because if I just put it right on the dirt, it's just going to be this giant uneven pathway in a week. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm trying to get it solved. We'll see. Everything else is fine.
Should we go to break and then go to Dave? Okay, we're going to go to break. Then we're going up to Rider training camp in Saskatoon. Keep the text messages coming at the Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. It is a Sports Cage on the home of Leafs Nation, 620 CKRM.
It'll be take me out to the ball game or take me down to the rink before you know it. And Extreme Hockey and Sport will have you ready for everything this season. You'll be all set for the ball diamond with team kits, bats, gloves, accessories, and training products in stock. And of course, they've got everything to get you geared up for spring hockey. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered. 1425 McIntyre Street and the Pro Shop, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
A rolling stone gathers no moss? What a weird saying! Does it gather moss if it's not rolling? So many questions, but what I don't question is where I get my tires. When your vehicle needs the right tires, see your local Cooper tire dealer. Your local Cooper tire dealer carries Cooper Pro Control tires. They're designed to wear evenly for crisp handling and engineered to take on water while maintaining grip. Ask your local Cooper tire dealer about Cooper Pro Control tires today. They'll keep you rolling.
You say
move,
and your cows say you tell them
your water is right over there,
and they say you can't convince a cow to move to the water, so move the water to the cows with the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System. With the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System, you can put your pump pretty much anywhere without the cost of hooking up to the grid. Learn more about the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System at kelnsolar.com. Keln Solar, we move water.
If it's happening in sports in Saskatchewan, we've got it covered on Sports Cage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. On your radio at 620 CKRM and online at sportscage.com.
All right, we're going back up to Saskatoon to the Red Zone Sports Bar Training Camp Reports. That's where Dave is, right behind the Travelodge. Dave, people are driving home right now. Maybe they didn't hear. In hour one, why don't you give us a quick update on the offensive line injuries?
Well, we know that Sean McEwen is going to be out for a while. That was to quote Corey Mace from the weekend. A while to me seems like a long-term injury. So the starting center that we had all projected to be there from the Calgary Stampeders after signing as a free agent isn't going to be available, nor is Philippe Gagnon right now. As he was seen today in a sling, he's getting more imaging done to determine how that's going to look and what the go-forward plan might be for him. So those two offensive linemen are out. Insert Noah Zaire back into the lineup as he was signed earlier today. Of course, he was let go and released last week. Zaire, though, stayed by the phone, stayed in shape, and Coach Mace, true to his word, said, you know what? Somebody's going to give him a call, and it just works out that the Roughriders did.
Mouse? No.
Dave, in that situation there, it's like being fired from your job and then they call you back a couple days later. I mean, there's obviously pride involved, but it is professional sports. What was the reception like back at training camp today?
He looked rejuvenated. Like he had a bounce in his step. He was going strong. And again, right, if you get knocked down, you got to get right back up. And that's exactly what Noah Zaire did. His teammates were there for him. And again, there's a lot of mutual respect between his teammates, himself, and of course the franchise.
Okay. Zack Fry, you had a chance to catch up with him today.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, a lot of eyes all of a sudden are on the offensive line. How is the camp coming together for this group?
Yeah, I think it's been good so far. Just got to continue to get better every day, play hard and play smart. This is the biggest thing for us this year.
Now, you came to camp early along with the entire offensive line. Why was that important?
Yeah, it's just important to get those extra reps in to see how guys play. If you got a new guy coming in to see how, they play beside you. So it's just important to get, those reps early to kind of figure out how each guy's going to, fit and just get some good reps in.
If there's anything we learned last year, that versatility is going to be a key with this group, and it's already started. How important is that, and how does that affect your mindset?
Yeah, it's huge just to be able to, play anywhere, and it's huge if you can play anywhere because that means everything in the playbook and everything that's going on around you. You can help guys out. So, yeah, the biggest thing in O-line is just being able to play everywhere and do your job well.
You played left guard, now you're playing some center. What are the differences in those positions for those that are unfamiliar?
Yeah, at center, you're just making those calls, telling everyone where to go. It's more of a mental aspect before that snap of the ball. Then, nothing changes after. Just take that guy and try to push him as far as you can.
Does footwork change at all going from the left guard position to center?
There's a little bit, just because you got to snap the ball, so it's a little hard to, get more vertical off that first step and everything. But, again, it's just football, so once you get a couple snaps going, it just becomes familiar for you.
And once you're making those calls, does that engage you further? Does that require extra preparation?
Yeah, I think, anyone on that O-line can play center because everyone knows what to do and where to go. So, if I have a little mental lapse, a lot of the guys will help me out where to go. And I think I'm pretty familiar with the playbook as well. So, I think the guys that we got it's going to be good and we all know where to go.
There's the actual snap of the football that's involved, though, too. How does that come about?
Yeah, I was working at this offseason, just being able to play everywhere, right? And it's a little tricky at first, but once you get into a rhythm, you kind of feel how the snap feels. So,
if things are going well for you, how can we tell by watching?
We're scoring points. Guys are getting blown off the ball, and Coach Ed isn't yelling.
All good points. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Coach Ed isn't yelling. Edwin Harrison, the offensive line coach, is like the offensive line whisperer right now in the Canadian Football League. But Zack Fry, again, has jumped into that role, and he seems to have embraced it with both arms and is doing a good job. There's still some work to be done, but so far, so good.
You'd mentioned in hour one at the green and white game that Jake Maier, out of all the quarterbacks, seemed to have a pretty good day. What did Jake do well in your eyes that put him at the top of the quarterback leaderboard?
He was efficient, effective. He didn't force anything, if you know what I mean. He didn't make a play when one wasn't there. He was sure and looked sure and confident in his reads. And then he had a bit of a connection with Deshaun Mims as they found one another a couple of times when plays maybe broke down a little bit. But all in all, I thought Jake Maier looked very confident and ready to go.
Going into the preseason game this week, maybe it's been decided, is this no Trevor Harris at all? He's going to play the following week in Regina, and it's going to be Maier, Stevens, and Cone in Winnipeg. Is that how you see it shaking out potentially?
It's very difficult to say because the reps don't change at practice in the preseason. So, for example, during the regular season, right, you can very easily determine, okay, this guy is going to be going here, this guy's going to be going there. Right now, it's all about getting those reps on tape so that you can learn, grow within the systems. So we haven't seen much yet that would tip the Roughriders' hands on what they're doing. I would be very surprised if Jack Cone doesn't get some playing time, as does Jake Maier. I would be very surprised as well if we don't see a little bit of Tommy Stevens, sprinkled in. But I really think it's probably going to be Jake Maier and Jack Cone, but never say never, because if Trevor Harris says, hey, I want to come in and play a series just like Nathan Rourke did over the weekend, maybe he does that.
Okay. What do you guys think, though, about AJ Ouellette this weekend?
He's looked fantastic in camp. I'm not playing him. I'd give him a series maybe at home if it was me. And there's a very good reason why it wouldn't be me making that call. But to me, he has looked great. He has looked fast. He's hit the holes hard, and he's been physical once again.
Different than a quarterback too, right? Like quarterback, kinks, going through progression, some new guys. Maybe there's a few new wrinkles and a few new plays, timing, all that. Running back, not that it's an easy position by any means, but if you're hitting the holes right, everything's there. Yeah, like you said.
But you've also got two guys that have been very, very good in camp, and Trent Penix and, of course, Mario Anderson. So I would anticipate fully the two of them getting a lot of reps with the football, and maybe even Thomas Bertrand-Houdon, who got a bulk of the carries today.
Mal, you got one more, and we'll let the man rest again.
Did Dante Myers flash or show it all in that green and white game on Saturday?
He had a couple of opportunities to make plays. Unfortunately, he didn't. And again, it wasn't a step back. It was just he had an opportunity and the ball didn't get delivered properly. Maybe there was a little miscommunication in the route. I think, though, that he has continued to put himself in a great spot to succeed on the offense and on special teams because he's been back returning kicks right now. So Dante Myers is definitely one to watch, and I'm sure he'll get a chance in Winnipeg.
I know for a lot of us last year that when he was on the roster, he was that explosive piece downfield that we don't necessarily have. So that's why we're all pulling, a lot of us pulling for him to make this roster.
I said Colson's got it in the book. I predict a big year from Dante Myers. All right, Dave, have a rest. We'll catch up in about 20 after.
Rest when there's wings to eat? Heck no.
Don't start talking. Don't do that to the fellas. Don't do that to the fellas over here. That is our Dave Thomas and our training camp report brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar right behind the Travel Lodge in Saskatoon. A quick break. Come back with the ticker. A little venture out to Flowing Springs and back to the Prairieland Rentals text line. It is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Are you looking for an opportunity to help Saskatchewan farmers? Are you driven and self-motivated? Do you pride yourself in your people skills and your ability to build strong relationships? Then this seasonal career opportunity might be your perfect fit. Then what the hail are you waiting for? Municipal Hail is looking for committed applicants to join their dynamic team of leaders as a crop hail adjuster. Training and benefits provided. Learn more at municipalhail.ca. Farmers insuring farmers for over 100 years.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Truck Month is back at Capital GMC, and the massive savings have arrived. Lease a 2025 GMC Sierra for just $99 a week, or finance a Sierra for as low as 0%. Save over $13,000 on a brand new GMC Sierra 2500 HD Denali. Or check out something certified pre-owned. They all come with manufacturer's warranty, roadside assistance, and more. Get the best deals, get the best experience. It's Truck Month at Capital GMC in Regina. Lease payment applicable with $5,500 down payment. See dealer for details.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered.
NHL, Game 1 tonight, Eastern Conference Final. Florida at Carolina. Other news from the NHL, Boston and General Manager Don Sweeney have agreed to a 2-year extension. World Championships today, Canada 5-3 over Sweden. They're into the quarterfinals Thursday against Denmark, who won in a shootout over Germany. Blue Jays playing tonight. San Diego is in Toronto. NBA Conference Finals, game number 1, Minnesota at OKC. That is your sports ticker for Extreme Hockey and Sport. Whatever your spring sport is, lacrosse, baseball, hockey, golf, Extreme has you covered. Blue Jay game tonight in Toronto.
That's all you got left. Oh, you could go be an Argo fan. Hey, listen, there's one team that's punched above their weight lately. It's the Toronto Argonauts, who only managed to just put a awesome roster together and win Grey Cups.
They win. Yeah, man. Okay, so this series, Carolina looks good. No doubt about it. Florida, short rest. Does this excite you, this series at all? And I don't know who to take.
Well, from the outset, if you're playing in the Eastern Conference, how much do you love a short flight from Raleigh to Miami as opposed to a Dallas, Edmonton, back forth? So advantage there. Whatever team's coming out of the East, you may be a little more rested. I didn't realize Florida swept Carolina last year, right? Like Rod Brind'Amour wouldn't say, I saw the quote today, he wouldn't admit that they got swept, but Florida won in 4 games, which would be a sweep. I don't see that this time. I think this is 6 games. I can't figure out until we see the first game how this is going to play, because I think Carolina's better.
Florida's just... And
I know Florida's so good.
Bob.
It's in a zone.
Yeah, but Carolina, though, is sneaky good. Like Jarvis is such a good player. And they got some guys that have never won. Stankoven young guy buzzing around. That one starts tonight. Okay, let's go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It's time to talk to our friend from Flowing Springs, Brian Raymond. Sorry we made you wait a little bit, Brian. It's raining out there. Course probably a little soggy. Did you have a few shooters out today, though?
We did have a few golfers out this morning, about 10 or so this morning. We've got 5 guys just went out just now. But so they're, they wear their rain gear and they go out there and play around.
If you're waiting for perfect weather to golf, especially in Saskatchewan, you ain't getting many days. So
you know what? There's an absolute truth to that.
You go out and play. This isn't Scottsdale. Hey, Brian, maybe on a day like today, let's talk about how people can call out to the course and if they want to book an event and how many people, up to how many people, what can you guys do out there?
We have done groups here, tournaments with as many as 144 players. Obviously, that would be a shotgun start on a day other than Saturday or Sunday, but certainly we can do that. We do a lot of business-type groups, customer service or customer appreciation, that sort of thing, staff appreciation tournaments, so anywhere, it doesn't really matter, anywhere from about 24 to, like I say, 144. So we can certainly handle that, and all they have to do is give us a call. And we do find sometimes that we have people who maybe have little experience either as golfers or in organizing a golf tournament. Not a problem. I mean, we've done hundreds over the years, and we'd be more than happy to help them figure out what to do and how to do it.
There you go. How do they find you, Brian? If they want that, probably best to call, right?
Absolutely. Give us a call. And that's funny you mention that because sometimes we get a lot of emails, and unfortunately I don't sit behind my computer all day taking emails, so I don't always get them right away. But if you want instant or immediate response, give me a call at 306-543-5050. And if you're booking a golf tee time, you can go to flowingspringsgolf.com and book on our tee on system.
There you go. Thanks, Brian. Let's talk Thursday.
You betcha. Take care.
Right on. Flowing Springs. Go golf. It's not even that bad out. This weather. It's like living on the coast. What are you chuckling about over there? We got to go to
Colson's living in a mud pit and can't even get his garbage into the alley. And you want just to go golf.
Roscoe,
forget all your troubles and go hit the back nine.
Yeah. It's physical day tomorrow. Go hit some eggs. Roscoe on the Prairie Land Rentals text line sent us a nice picture of some pallets. Too bad he's out in Kindersley area, or he could just drop those off for you, Colson, so you can get to your back lane with your garbage. Pallet guy. Hey, is that your neighbor put pallets down in the back? Do it. And then put a Pilsner flag, too, in your window. Just do it. It's a sports cage.
You missed it last week. My Pilsner Cup idea is picking up steam.
That's a great idea. Great idea.
That's a great idea.
Glenn Sudter, when we come back, more from training camp. It is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Proudly broadcasting from Treaty 4 territory, the homeland of the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, Saulteaux, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We are 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
The company plans to replace underground electrical equipment that has reached the end of its life. The goal is to reduce outages and fix problems faster. Work on 11th Avenue will run from April until October, while more work in September and October will be near Saskatchewan Drive. Sask Power says it's working closely with the City of Regina to reduce traffic and service disruptions. Wildfires continue to cause concern in Saskatchewan, with 14 active fires reported. 2 major fires, the Shoe Fire near Lower Fishing Lake and the Camp Fire north of Snowdon, remain uncontained. The province has already seen 170 wildfires this year, ahead of last year's pace. Premier Scott Moe says dry northern conditions are dangerous and urges caution. Parks like Narrow Hills have suffered damage, and some areas are closed for the season. Fire bans remain in place across much of northern Saskatchewan. Canadians got a break at the pumps last month, but Statistics Canada says that relief did not extend to the grocery store. Inflation slowed to 1.7% in April as the end of the consumer carbon price fed through the lower costs on gasoline. But BMO economist Benjamin Reitzes says grocery stores weren't benefiting yet from those lower transportation costs as food prices accelerated in April.
I was expecting at least maybe a little bit of pass-through from the lower energy prices into food prices, but that might take some time to show up. So in the meantime, we're stuck with somewhat higher food prices, unfortunately, which is not good for Canadians in general.
Reuters says the April inflation data slashes the odds of an interest rate cut from the Bank of Canada in June. The union representing Canada's postal workers are poised to walk off the job as of Friday for the second time in less than 6 months. Canada Post and its workers have failed to come to an agreement, with several sticking points still outstanding. York University labor geographer Stephen Tufts says weekend work remains the biggest obstacle to a deal.
The post office wants to do it all with part-time labor, and the union says, no, we're not going to erode our full-time. We have a mandate to have full-time good jobs. We want to do this with full-time labor. And the post office encounters and says, we can't do it. It's too expensive, and we can't have the flexibility in scheduling to pull that off.
Post wants to shift from a delivery model that prioritizes letters to one rooted more firmly in the growing parcels market. And as spring arrives, wildlife officials are asking people to avoid disturbing young animals seen alone in the wild. Most are not abandoned. Their mothers are often nearby, watching from a distance. Interfering can harm the animal or prevent it from reuniting with its parent. Wild animals also carry diseases and should never be taken home. If the animal is injured or in danger, call a conservation officer or report it to the tip line at 1-800-667-7561. That is your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Let's get out on the water. Now is the best time of year to buy a boat or pontoon at Kevin's Marine. Cast a line in a Lund fishing boat. Take the family out on a Four Winds boat. Or head out on a pontoon by Harris or Crest. Powered by Mercury Motors at the lowest prices of the year. There are manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a great selection of boats and pontoons. Plus Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Kevin's Marine in Fort Capel. Enjoy your summer. Get out on the water. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
Oh, finally. There it is.
Oh, did you order pizza?
No, even better. I called Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Oh, so what'd you order?
Well, they have all the top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features and so many great plans, man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it is the pizza guy. Hey, guy.
Tell him to go away. We're waiting on Echo Sound.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Quipel. EchoSound.ca.
We'll still take the pizza, though.
Weather brought to you by Line X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks. 1865 McCarra Street.
Occasional rainfall continuing through the night, starting to mix with some flurries too as the night goes on. We drop off to a low of 2 degrees. The flurry threat is very negligible. Most areas, not an issue. Many areas not seeing any at all. But light rain showers do continue with that risk. And then through the day on Wednesday, still dealing with some light, more spotty rain showers as the day goes on. 10 degrees the high, the wind pretty consistent, 15 to 25 from the east to northeast. Any showers that linger into the evening Wednesday night will end, a mostly cloudy sky through the night, down to 1 degree. And for Thursday, cloud mixing with some sunshine will average partly sunny at times at least, the high around 15. Friday and Saturday, very low rainfall threat both days, 30% at worst. Spotty showers for Friday, partly sunny most of the time, a high of 16. And Saturday, partly sunny, 17, a slight risk of a shower. Temperatures warmer, closer to 20 on Sunday. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
He's at it again. Matt's sharpening his pencil to save you money at Matt's Furniture. Now till June 4th, it's Maytag month. Buy any 2 qualifying Maytag major kitchen appliances and save an extra $150. Buy 3 or more and save an extra $300. Buy any 4 eligible Maytag kitchen appliances and save an extra $400. And buy any Maytag eligible washer and dryer pair and save an extra $100. See in store for all the details. Matt's Furniture in Fort Capel, Kamsack, Melville, and Foam Lake, or online at mattsfurniture.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Hour 3 of the Sports Cage. We're an hour away from puck drop in the Eastern Conference Final, game number 1. We're going back out to training camp with Dave Thomas in about 20 minutes' time. Prairieland Rentals text line where they can help you with the smallest power tool to skid steers and delivery. Anything you need, deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street for those spring and summer jobs. Prairieland Rentals text line. A lot of people still giving it to the Leafs, Maz. We haven't had one. Yeah, we've had a couple of Leaf supporters chime in, but even they don't sound,
Let's say the Oilers lose to Dallas. The text line, though, there's going to be a lot of people jumping all over the Oilers, jumping off the bandwagon, and or
I don't know
relishing in the fact that they choked out and that they didn't win a Stanley Cup in the McDavid. They wasted another year of McDavid and Draisaitl.
Man, Mitch Marner gone. John Tavares gone. Matthews, I know he's locked in. Why would you want to play there? No, thank you.
Every time we have a meeting, can we start with the Mitch Marner pep talk? Or if things get heated, the Mitch Marner comes in with that clip and just breaks it up.
Dry hair Mitch.
Dry hair Mitch.
He's getting a Kurt Plus commercial for sure. Kurt Harnett,
everybody,
step aside.
Everybody works with somebody that contributes nothing, then all of a sudden pipes up like that, and you're like, come on, nobody likes you.
See,
nobody likes you.
Yeah, we got absolute beauties on the text line, like Leonard. I want to apologize. I was sniffing gas when I stated the Toronto Maple Leafs were going to win the Stanley Cup. So you look up in his text here. And yeah, it's okay, Leonard. It's okay, bud. There was a lot of people that took him. Core 4, Berube, this is their year, yada, yada, rinse and repeat. Did they really have a chance?
No. There was house money. Florida Game 7, been there before. Long series, punishing. And then when they got up 1-0, we were at the in-laws. We were playing cards. And so
what's your game of choice?
The game's called Screw Your Neighbor that we play.
I haven't played that. Don't remember it.
Okay. We usually play 13 hands. Then the new rule, you can't lead with Trump. Forget that. That's my strategy. That's how I win. Anyways. So I'm just watching on my phone, and then I check, and it's 1-0. And I'm like, okay, Florida scored first. Bob's hot. We need at least one more. And then a couple hands later, because my father-in-law, he put his wine glass on the floor, and I thought one of the kids was going to kick it over, but they didn't. Then I checked my phone again.
Carpet or laminate, or what do we?
Tile, but they've broken glass before, too, on tile. Ooh, I know it's not good. And then I checked, it's 3-0, and I'm like, all right, this is probably all Florida needs. 3 goals. We should be good. I didn't play well at cards. My wife ended up winning. She destroyed everybody. Kept getting jokers every hand. It's like it was rigged.
You got to get him. You got to get him playing Kaiser. I'm a crappy Kaiser player. I'm like the worst partner because I don't pay attention.
I tried, but there's usually 8 or 9 of us playing. So Screw Your Neighbor's an easy game because you start with first round is 1 card, then 2, 3, unless we're in reverse order. A few weeks ago, we started on round 13, so we dealt 13 cards first. And I bet 4. I ended up getting 14 points. Put me far enough ahead.
It's exciting stuff. I was watching it in an airport. I turned away. That's when our flight we thought was going to get canceled. I'm like, all right, United, just give me the bad news. And I had the iPad up and we're watching it. All of a sudden I come back and I'm like, huh? 3-0.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. And this older gentleman behind me, nice guy. He was having a overpriced thing of Pringles. He said, well, they're done. Another year of disappointment. I said, yeah, let's just hope we get on this flight. get home. But there's the Leaf fans that are delusional, and then there's the Leaf fans that are somewhat sane, like Leonard. I'm sorry, Leonard, maybe you're not a Leafs fan. And then there's some that'll just be back. They'll be back. Like punching bag.
And anybody that's pounding on Leafs Nation today, if you're a Rider fan, how are we any different? Like, we take our lumps and our bumps.
Very
Lumps
similar.
and bumps. And here we are, it's training camp. We show up again, fresh-faced, ready to go. Sky's the limit. Nothing can stop us except injuries in training camp, again, to the offensive line, to the Canadians, again.
And the only other thing is, we talked about this in hour one. Enough with the where's Mitch Marner going to land, and then putting up the Vancouver, Calgary, Montreal logos. Let's be honest. If you were in his shoes, you would sign in another Canadian market where you're going to get lambasted. Just put.
Why?
No, he's gone.
You can go live somewhere with no state tax.
Or like you said, even to California, he's getting screwed in Toronto tax-wise. Go live in California. Play for the Ducks. No one will know you. They don't really care. If you win, if you lose, doesn't matter. It's like Groundhog Day, mostly sunny all the time, 20-some degrees. Your hair will look nice.
Morning,
feathered hair will look great.
Off. Yeah, burns off by about lunchtime.
By a rag top. All right. These guys are we're getting text messages in. Guys want to talk about this, but these guys saying we got to go to Suits. Suits is stuck in traffic. He's over the phone. Here we go.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Glenn Sudter on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090.
Hey, Glenn.
Good discussion, gentlemen. Maz, I think we were talking about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, where the Leafs, I believe at the time, had the lead in the series. And I was thinking, I still don't believe, because I was happy to see Austin Matthews score that goal in Game 6. The winner to take it to a Game 7. I was happy for him. I don't wish bad on athletes. I hope that they can fight their way to where they want to be if they're in the slump and things like that. So I was, in some ways, for the first time ever, sort of cheering for him to have a big game, and it was nice to see him score. But, and then the series is over in Game 7. The first goal, if you go back and look, I would suggest that the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't really dig to get back on the back check on that first goal. And he probably wouldn't have been able to make a difference anyway, because they were, they had that real quick turnover and then jumped into that rush and scored with a beautiful shot. And I thought, I went back and put it in slow motion, and I looked at Matthews, and he took one stride and then glided back. Nice. Now, again, I don't think he could have got there. It was too far. But it just, that's the part that I've always been frustrated with him when I watched that team. And it kind of reared its ugly head. And then it was really an exclamation point after, when he said there were passengers.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, guys, that's not leadership. If you're going to say that, say it in the locker room, not in the media. You walk around, but if you're going to say it, boy, you better be doing your part. I just, it's a hollow, calling out of teammates if you're not pulling your part of the deal, doing so. Well,
that's
I know in Vancouver right now, guys, in Vancouver, people are going, boy, I'd like one of the other guys maybe, but I hope we don't get Matthews.
Don't worry about it, Vancouver. You ain't getting Matthews. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose Hughes in a bit, and your head's gonna explode. No, but you're right. Like that, the Matthews thing, I felt was very pot calling the kettle black. To a T. Leadership and one thing. Hey, before we got to get on this. You went to the preseason game yesterday, and we had some text messages come in, people saying, it looked pretty Bush League. They didn't like the look of it. The game wasn't the greatest. What was your take being there, boots on the ground?
You know what? It was great, honestly. And I know people think that I'm always cheerleading. If I felt like I walked in and it was half empty and it wasn't a very good atmosphere, people were having a blast. And I looked around. I mean, obviously there's only 10,000 people in there, but that's the amount that some hockey teams are drawing at some time. But obviously it's a small town. It's a small local field. The field was in beautiful condition, so there was no problem with concerns about safety and stuff. There were a few injuries in the game, but that had nothing to do with the field. So they took care of that. And this is what it does. I actually talked to Dwayne Vanu, the president of the Lions, about it at the game. I saw both him and the commissioner at the game, watched pretty much all of it from field level. I asked him about how much those types of things cost a team. Like, is it real expensive to play a preseason game in this small city? And, he basically said when the community and the city get behind it like Langford did in Vancouver Island, well, then it doesn't cost the owner a whole lot. And what it does is it introduces our game to a whole bunch of people that probably will never or have never gone to a game in BC Place. And and then I look in the stands and I walk around looking to see, how many kids are here and how many kids are having fun and they're getting souvenir footballs and jerseys and things like that. And, it only takes one or two of those games for those young kids to think, I love this. I'd like to go to one in Vancouver. Come on, Mom and Dad, let's go. And then you have a fan when he starts making money down the road that wants to bring his girlfriend to a game or whatever. So, I think the preseason is the time to do that. And it made me think of Saskatoon. It really did. Like, immediately. In fact, I mentioned it to Stuart Johnson. They're having training camp up there anyway.
Yeah.
So the team is already settled in there. They can add some temporary seats, and that would be a very cool preseason atmosphere up in Saskatoon, at this time of year.
I think they did it, Maz, back in the day. I remember biking to Gordie Howe Bowl and I think watching the Riders and Blue Bombers play a preseason game. Do you remember that? Like, I think it was like...
I remember way back that I think we even had a sort of an inter-squad no kicking. So it was just offense against defense, like almost like a scrimmage, a live scrimmage with the Bombers. And they may have done full preseason before that, back when there were 4 preseason games too. That could have happened. I'm not sure. I can't remember offhand.
That's probably what it was, Glenn. So yeah, and if you would have looked up back, sneaking through the fence and I left my Kuahara on the outside, and I got in and watched. That was me.
Love it. But honestly, I thought it was cool, and again, I think the whole idea behind the preseason in a neutral site that is a small market to show a whole new group of people your product.
Glenn, one of the things I was most curious about yesterday in clicking on the game and watching it CFL.ca, the Stampeders took the dynamite to everything. Coaching staff, roster, you name it.
Pants.
I wanted to see if they were prepared to play in game number 1, because it's easy to say a lot of things. Now to actually make it happen with 33 new faces that never played a CFL. Glenn, they ended up winning the game. Forget the score. They looked ready to play. On offense and defense, there wasn't a ton of penalties. Like, they looked like they were dialed in, like that Dave Dickinson and this new coaching staff got the message to them early, and they look prepared. Am I wrong? Did you see the same thing?
Yeah, no, I thought they did. They did come out and played physical. A lot of the guys that I had to keep checking my depth chart and my roster to see who and where they came from and who they are and those kind of things. Because that's what both teams sort of did in this game. They played a whole bunch of their young guys. I mean, Vernon Adams didn't even dress. He didn't even put the pads on. He was there, and he was on the sideline. But Maz, I did see an aggressive, physical Calgary team that kept battling late into the fourth quarter, like even guys that, were sort of playing in the preseason. It's a real tough balance between sort of playing for your job, but also showing the coach that you are a team guy. So don't start doing things that are outside of the scheme of the defense, for instance, or else that's a good way to get yourself cut. But you also want to be noticed so that you can make the team. It's a tough balance, but I did see that in Calgary. I thought P.J. Walker showed some real cool athletic things in the game as a backup quarterback. And just to sort of link this to the first question, guys, Vernon Adams before the game played catch from the sideline with tons of kids that had lined up across the fence on the side of the stands, and he just tossed the ball back and forth to these little kids. I swear that those kids are going to be fans for life. And they didn't even dress him. I mean, Nathan Rourke played 4 plays, and all 4 were handoffs. So clearly there was a plan by both coaches not to, in the first preseason game, put their starting quarterbacks in harm's way early, so they didn't see the field, and it was a chance for the young guys to try and crack the lineup.
Hey, Glenn, what are we looking at for rule changes this year? What do you know? Have we missed anything?
Yeah, there's a couple that I think the fans may recognize pretty early. First of all of the rules. I just talked to Darren Hackwood recently, the head of officials, to get the sort of perspective on where these rule changes, which are small things in a lot of ways, but could be noticed early in the season. That where they came from, what was sort of the reason behind them, and the general consensus there is the reason behind these new rule changes were for player safety reasons primarily. So some of them, like for instance, we've seen a couple of times where a receiver goes over the middle, he's reaching for the ball, and a DB will go low into his knees, and when that DB goes low, it's a dangerous hit. And with the receiver not being, ready to, protect himself, being able to move out of the way or jump over the tackler or try to stop and make a move or whatever. So you may see that's going to be a major foul hitting below the knees now. And that's one that protects receivers, player safety, but you might see early, like a defensive back sort of go down. Now, it has to be when the receiver is vulnerable, and that's going to be the interpretation side of this rule. It's going to be, where is he vulnerable? Did he catch it and then in a split second be able to react and maybe avoid the hit so it doesn't matter that the DB went low? Or is he able to, or did he not even see the hit coming and it's dangerous? So there will be times, I think, that there might be frustration from the fans when a DB takes a penalty like that because he went low on a tackle on a receiver and they decided to call penalty. The other one is they've increased the automatic ejection penalties, like the major penalties. So if you're going to get thrown out of the game, and you know how last year where there was a scrum and there was some pushing and shoving and maybe some guy threw a punch, but they'd look back at that and they'd say, well, it wasn't really a punch. He had an open hand and he hit the guy in the side of the shoulder pad, so it wasn't really in the head. So let's just call it a 15-yard roughing penalty and move on. Well, now that player will be thrown out. So there'll be times when there will probably be an ejection in the game, and you'll see, there'll be fans going, well, why did he get thrown out? That didn't seem like much. But they are going to have zero tolerance. If you throw a punch, open hand or not, wherever it hits or not, you're out. You're gone. It's not negotiable.
What about a slap?
a slap, you're out. If you take a swing at another player, you're out of the game. You're disqualified. So it's kind of amping up the, and here's the other one that you might see. A guy's on a kickoff return or a punt return, and he's blocking low, like you're not allowed to block low right now, but they're amping it up to, if you go low on a guy covering on a kick return, then you are a chance to be thrown out of the game. Now, they're going to use replay in real time to help determine if that guy tripped and there was mitigating circumstances that caused him to go low on a guy below the knees. But you can't block below the knees now, so it hasn't changed the rule. It just has increased the penalty if you do it, and they believe there was an intent to go low on it. And then the other one, guys, that I think fans may notice right away is if the ball is on the 20-yard line going in and there's a roughing penalty, a major penalty, unnecessary roughness, let's say, I don't know what an example would be, but let's just say it's an unnecessary roughness penalty. Right now it would be a half the distance penalty. So even though it might be a 25-yard penalty, they're only going half the distance because they're on the 20-yard line going in. Now they will use the maximum amount of yardage down to the 1-yard line. So if you're on the 20-yard line and you get a UR penalty, that ball is going to go down to the 1-yard line like it would if it was pass interference in the end zone. So again, these are rule tweaks in general to change the behavior of stupid punching stuff after the whistle, of low hits that can be dangerous for, a player or an opponent. And if you do these things, you very likely will be thrown out. And if you take a penalty in plus territory, they're putting the ball down on the 1-yard line.
Glenn, this is all well and good. And I know that when we first chatted about the CFL commissioner coming on, that if they added more cameras like the playoff games and how they shoot the Grey Cup, there's more angles to catch some of this stuff. But if the cameras aren't going to increase and they have to rely on what they have, are we up to the mercy of whatever TSN can capture? Although it could be plain as day to everybody sitting there watching it live. If it doesn't show up on film, you still may not get that call go your way. Correct?
Yeah, Maz, that's sort of a question that's directed specifically to the command center. And the command center has done a pretty good job in the back half of last year, for sure, to help in real time when it comes to like a roughing the passer call. For instance, if there's a roughing the passer, the command center is looking at it automatically, and they can tell the on-field official in real time if it actually wasn't roughing the passer, for instance. Like maybe it looked like he hit him in the head, but he missed his head and the arm went past him or something. And from your angle, it might have seemed that way, but we saw a replay quickly, and it's not a penalty, so they pick it up. There was a whole controversy when Saskatchewan played in Ottawa last year.
Oh yeah.
So
yep.
So your point is a good one, that there will still be times when their angles that they have aren't sufficient to get it completely correct. But if that's the case, then they'll stay with what is called on the field. So in other words, what they felt like last year at the beginning of the season, for the first half of the year, they really felt like the command center was getting too involved with the game in real time, too intrusive. By Labor Day, they changed that. They actually had meetings on that, like conference call meetings and things like that with the coaches and stuff. And they changed it so it had to be clear and obvious for the command center to get involved. And that's where they want to start from this year.
Okay, we got to get to Dave at training camp here, and we didn't even touch on flag football, which you're as big of a fan as me. But just quickly, in a couple minutes we have left here, NFL owners voted today to send their athletes to 2028, the ones that can. Just big news for flag football, Glenn, and your take on it and what that might mean for CFL.
Yeah, it's going to create more intensity in the discussion. I know they already are. I heard that when I was on Vancouver Island, that the league office and the Players Association are already discussing, the involvement of CFL players in the Olympics. I know that the PA, I think Solomon Elamimian has already stated from the Players Association point of view that they would love to be part of it. The NFL has voted yes to pros playing in it, which is excellent. And either way, I mean, I don't think, this is my opinion now, but I don't think there's any way that the CFL cannot be involved. We have to make room for it. It's in the middle of our season, so it's way harder. But I think we have to be there. They're discussing it. I think they all want to be there. Now it's just a matter of putting it all together and finding a way to not miss any games in the regular season, but take that break in the summer.
Okay, let's talk more about this on Thursday because I got a take on that, and then you and I can go off. But we got to get to training camp. Glenn, thanks so much. Hope traffic you get home in one piece and go watch some hockey.
I've been watching a lot of hockey, man.
Attaboy.
Now I'm replaying goals. Talk to you guys later.
See you later. That is press coverage with Glenn Sudter. It's for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. Call them at 781-2090. Speaking of Bronco Plumbing and Heating, air conditioning, furnace on, air conditioning off. Right? We're in that May weather right now. Get home on the weekend, the house is like 59 degrees. Well, guess here.
The kids had their jackets on this morning to be like, well, it's raining. It's a monsoon. And I had to go and buy a new lawnmower blade. I'm like, you're wearing your spring coat and you need something underneath it. Well, I'm like, I know it's not fair, but this is where we're at.
The boy wore shorts, and then he wears like, the kids all wear like the Magnum PI shorts, like the high ones. And I'm like, are you aware of the weather today, man? I'm like, whatever. Okay, we got to go to Dave Thomas. Training camp report. When we come back, it's a Sports Cage on CKRM.
I'm Bruce Lowe with Ag Direct Hail Insurance. Back in 2014, we launched Ag Direct with the goal of changing the crop hail insurance industry by combining broker-free rates with superior customer service and professional claims handling. Thanks to the support of hard-working farm families, Ag Direct Hail is now one of the largest and fastest growing crop hail insurance providers on the prairies. Visit agdirecthail.com or call us toll free. We appreciate your business.
This is Country Gold with Steve Harmon, your home for the country hits of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Hello, I'm Steve Harmon, inviting you to join me for Country Gold. Each week we play country favorites from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and we check in with the stars who made them, too. This weekend on Country Gold.
Country Gold, brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore. Saturday mornings at 6 and Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Employee pricing has arrived at Crestview Chrysler with the 100 Years in Canada event. That means $99 per week on a new 2025 Jeep Compass. Financing as low as 0% for 72 months on select Ram 1500s. Save up to $26,000 on the new Dodge Durango Hellcat. Or get into a new 2024 Dodge Hornet for as low as $38,995. Take your pick, boss. It's employee pricing. Only for a limited time at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
If your fridge could talk, what would it say?
Hey, look at me. I'm a talking fridge.
Okay, but what would it say about what's inside?
Yikes. You've got some old deer sausage back here next to the moldy cauliflower.
Your fridge would probably tell you to order Western Pizza. They've got their pizza down to perfection.
Make sure you knock on me first. You might see the salad dressing.
Western Pizza, dine in or takeout. Order today.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Don't miss a minute of Sports Cage. Podcasts are posted at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. It's for Saskatchewan Lotteries, the main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our province. Darian Durant, usually Mondays, we're moving him, long weekend style. He'll be tomorrow for Campbell Safety Consulting and our friends there. If you don't have a proper safety program, call Campbell Safety Consulting. Hey, Dave, back up in Saskatchewan. You look tired today. is that it's been a long hey, you grind, man. You're up in the morning, you're there all day. Weather today, again, wasn't fantastic. It's a lot. You do a great job, Dave.
Thanks, Barney. And just so you know, you look terrific, my friend. I love that hoodie on you, the hair. I don't know. Everything's looking peachy keen.
Dave, just because we're worried about your physical and your mental health, maybe you should tag along with Barney tomorrow for his physical. He may need an emotional support person because we don't know how it's going to play out. It's been an emotional show right off the bat. There was platitudes. There was sayings that you would see at a Bed Bath & Beyond store that you would get painted, that you'd put up in your living room, that Barney was thrown out. There's been a lot. And interesting.
Yeah. A lot of hard miles, boys. A lot of hard miles on this rig. Dave, you said Colson was saying that you talked to Dan Farthing about that Winnipeg-Saski game at Gordie Howe Bowl?
Yeah, after the green and white game, Dan Farthing and I were walking out of Gordie Howe Sports Complex, as it's known now, in Saskatoon Minor Football Field, and he said, it brings back memories because in his rookie season, the Riders played the Winnipeg Blue Bomber rookies. So it was full contact, full out scrimmage. The only thing you couldn't do was tackle the quarterback. But I said, it must have been like concrete back then. He goes, oh yeah, it was the grass at Gordie Howe for sure. So yeah.
People spraying balls in from the executive 9 first hole.
It's funny. My Dan Farthing story, he wouldn't remember this, but I did. I think when they were playing for the Huskies, they just won the Vanier or something. He was my substitute algebra teacher in grade 11. There was a whole bunch of them. I don't know. There was like a math conference. There was a whole bunch of Huskies, and he happened to be our substitute algebra teacher. Not exactly a strong suit. Not that he wasn't a good teacher. That was more me than anything. So green and white game at Gordie Howe. Let's just call it Gordie Howe Bowl. All right, let's keep it what it was. So you're there. Luke talked about it. Guys, jobs, a lot is on the line besides the bring them out and the fans and the autographs and Gainer and the merch trailer and all that. There was actual business being done from the D line. A lot of new faces, few holdovers, but a lot of fresh faces there. The D line play, from what you were able to see, what was your assessment? Who's standing out? Who's Sean? Who would you like to see more from?
Well, right off the hop, the guy that jumps out is Micah Johnson. Micah has been playing his tail off this camp, and he's playing like he has to earn a job, and I believe that. And, it's an incredible feat when you look at it. Half a dozen coaches on the Saskatchewan Roughrider roster have either played with or against Micah Johnson over the span of his career. So he's obviously doing something right. The motor was going. He was flying around. Malik Carney, I like the way that he looked. Shane Ray, he factored in a little bit. Mike Rose, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. So he's another guy that, again, was out there trying to make a statement. Benoit Marion was there. Haba Baldonado. Again, I'm just going down the roster, it seems. But again, the defensive line, I thought, played really well because they were able to get some pressure on the quarterbacks throughout the afternoon.
You had a chance, I think, to talk to a couple of guys. Which ones? Who should we go with this time?
Well, what stood out for me was that A.J. Allen is getting a lot of reps at the will linebacker spot. That shouldn't surprise anyone, and it really didn't surprise me. But the one that did was Jaden Dalkey. Now, these two, they are like, I don't know, you go ahead and you call it butter on bread, whatever you want to say. These guys hang out together and have a good time. And Jaden Dalkey has been moved from the secondary and a defensive back to the linebacker. So I said, hey, guys, come on over. Let's have a chat. And so the three of us did. It's called 2 for the price of 1 with A.J. Allen and Jaden Dalkey, 2 linebackers. Did I get that right, Dalkey?
Yes, sir. Year 1 of being in the box.
How has that transition, transformation, whatever you want to call it, gone so far?
I'm getting more used to it each day, thankfully, to my guy right here, because it's been a smoother transition, not having to relearn the playbook, but they're getting me right on the technique.
So, AJ, how are you teaching Jaden to do that?
Just individual drills, man, because obviously, again, he used to play free safety at a high level, so he's got to be able to switch his feet and fix his eyes and things like that. But, we just go through it step by step, day by day, and he's getting better every day, man. He's getting it.
The one thing that I observed and others around me are saying, boy, does A.J. Allen really look comfortable this year. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Both, because I felt comfortable years before. So that means I didn't look comfortable other years. No, it's good. I'm feeling comfortable. I'm feeling confident. Just ready to play some good football.
So tell me, what does this defense need to do to take a step forward? Jaden, you get to go first.
I really don't need it.
There's some new additions, so just making sure that they all are fitting into the unit and fitting into the mindset that we have as a defense. Like where we cover with 12, we stop the run with 12. So just making sure they're all on the same page. With so far, I think they've been blending pretty well.
AJ, same question for you.
And I think my answer will be just honing in on the smaller things, right? The things that lose you games, the penalties, the mistakes, the MAs or missed assignments. The better we correct those and not have those mental lapses, the more games we'll win. So I think having a bunch of the same group for another year will help loosen those or lessen those MAs for sure.
It seems to me that there's a lot more padded play with more padded sessions thus far in camp. Like it and all for it?
All for it, man. Coach Mace is our leader. Whatever he says we need to do, we need to do. So that's my guy. I'm gonna follow him to a wall and to Saskatchewan and Regina, wherever I need to go. So wherever he says goes.
So Jaden, you look like your body has transformed in the offseason. Has it?
I mean, it's got taller again. A little bit. Like they did let me know that I was coming in as the linebacker, so I tried to change some of my training to account for that. But yeah, I feel good. I feel good right now.
AJ, you had an off-season workout with the Denver Broncos. What did you take away from that experience?
That the CFL is a great league, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm proud to be a Canadian playing the CFL for sure. And I mean, yeah.
Tell me about playing special teams, though. You both do it tremendously well. You were tied for the league in special teams tackle. How much pride do you take playing on those special teams?
So much pride, man. I mean, especially being a Canadian, coming from the youth sports program at Guelph, it was an emphasis. It's something that we know we must do in order to play in this league. That's how you start. That's how you get your foot in the door. But also on top of that, just the pride of going one-on-one versus someone and kicking their butt and having it on film. It's absolutely beautiful. I love that. I live for that, and just an opportunity to compete on a football field.
Jaden, your coach gave you a shutout with your special teams play today. What does it mean to you?
Which coach? Majuri?
Mace.
Oh, Coach Mace. Nice. Yeah, like obviously it's playing for Coach Majuri as well. Like he's a guy that I don't want to let down, and he puts the time in, and he's very detail oriented, and he cares. So obviously I want to try to match that, and I'm very proud to be a Core 4 special team demon.
Wow, Core 4 in Toronto. That doesn't sit well right now with the Leafs. Sorry, different subject. Gentlemen, thank you for your time in doing this, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So there you go. A.J. Allen and Jaden Delkey. Again, the two of them just like each other, and you get that throughout the roster and inside that dressing room. And, yeah, they're both working right now on the Will linebacker spot at Rough Rider training camp.
Core 4.
That's tough.
Dave, speaking of special teams, with no Adam Korsak because he retired to take a real-life big boy job, what's the punting situation been like?
Bailey Flint, and oh my goodness, he was kicking with the wind the other day. And so what they do when they're practicing punting, right, when he's actually live kicking, right, very seldom does he kick when there's a cover team drill. But what he does is they go cross field. So he was going cross field, and it was incredible. He would start and say that he was standing on the 55-yard line. He would kick it high up into the wind. The wind would move it over, and it would be fielded right on the numbers at the 50-yard line on the opposite side of the field. I thought, that's pretty good. That's pretty big wind. But then he does it 4, 5, 6 consecutive times. The guy can place the ball where he wants to, and that's what that drill was all about, was working with the wind and placing the ball where he wants. And him and Brett Lother seem to have a bunch of chemistry when it comes to holding the football for kicks. So those are the two big jobs, and I think Bailey Flint is doing a terrific job at both.
You know, and it's interesting, right? Because Griffith Stadium pretty wide open. you come back here, and especially if you've ever been down on the field at Mosaic Stadium, the winds howl, everything's different down there. So, and I'm sure they're pros and all that, but that'll be some getting used to. Because basically going from kicking right in the middle of the prairies to in a bit of a bowl.
Yeah, that swirls around, right? And you hear that all the time. And the difficulty there is in the time of day and the amount of wind and where it's coming from.
I had somebody text over the weekend, hey, what happens after the preseason game? And I said back, well, they'll play in Winnipeg on Saturday, then they go back to Regina, and then camp continues from there. So there's a few more days left in Saskatoon, and then you guys wrap up, and then after the preseason game, come home from Winnipeg. Everything is in Regina going forward. So if you haven't been out to check out a practice, if you haven't had time, you've got tomorrow, Thursday, and is there a walkthrough on Friday before you travel, or is that still up in the air?
To be determined. Last year, there was a walkthrough before hitting the flight out to Winnipeg, or I guess last year we flew to Edmonton. This time around, they're just going to wait and kind of see. The weather has been crappy yesterday and today, and it doesn't look much better for tomorrow. So I think if there's an opportunity, they might do a walkthrough before leaving on Friday morning, but that's yet to be confirmed.
Okay. Yeah. So are we all in agreement? We can talk about this more as the week goes on. Harris, don't take your sneakers. Just take some nice dress clothes to Winnipeg.
If I was going to go and sprinkle like you, Barney, that's where I would go. But again, we know how it's worked out for you lately, so maybe hold off on that.
Man. PGA Championship was bad too, by the way.
But as a Rider fan, give me Jake Maier for 2 quarters. I want first and second quarter. Let's see what he can do with bullets flying, live action, players coming at him. None of these guys have been hit, well, except for once. And we all know how that turned out. But let's see this because we want to see this go. I think. Dave, do you think that the coaching staff saw enough of Cone last year? Not the new and improved Cone of this year, but they saw enough last year. But Maier and Stevens are the wild cards. We really haven't seen any live bullets with these guys in the Rider system.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If I was to say, Dave, what are you going to watch for this week? Offensive line, number one, because I would assume that the 5 guys that are taking number 1 reps right now are going to Winnipeg to try to build some consistency and chemistry. So I would suggest watch the offensive line. In the backfield, Trent Penix and Mario Anderson. They both have got 2 different things that they can do. We'll see who takes a step forward. Receiver, right? You talked about Dante Myers. Again, he's making a statement. Keyshawn Johnson has had a quiet camp, not for anything that he's done. He just hasn't seen a lot of balls come his way. So is that where we're going to go with the American receiver position? And then there is a ton of linebackers still in camp and some secondary decisions that are going to have to be made as well as far as who is going to fit in where. So, yes, I've just said watch the whole team, but offensive line, running back, linebacker, and secondary, they're the big ones to watch coming up here on this week here in Saskatoon, and of course Saturday in Winnipeg.
Who are you going to miss most at the Travel Lodge and the Red Zone when you have to leave? You've made friends there. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to miss the pool attendant that had a good laugh when Luke went down the water slide. That was good. There's a couple of dandies over here, a couple of gentlemen that are in town from Vancouver that can't believe that we're doing this here, and they're pretty pumped. So enjoying the $15 special. So yeah, there's a lot of people I'm going to miss. Yeah, it's been good. I've been making friends.
So speaking of Luke, last week we were on him about him. He's got a swimming pool. He's invited people over, but never followed through. But then he mentioned he's got a new smoker. But then on social media this weekend, I saw a picture of him, the smoker, and I think the guy that sold him the smoker. He was given free shout outs, free plugs. Why not? Hey, if you got a deal, even better if you didn't pay for it at all. So now there's another layer to this uninvited pool party that there's going to be some sort of brisket that we're never going to have either. So much like Colson's backyard, the story adds another layer. So I think all Luke needs now is like, Barney, do you have any clients that sell like patio furniture that we get like a tiki bar set up or something like that? Like a wicker thing? He could be
wicker, outside wicker. No.
Well, whatever. It'll last a season. Don't ask anything more than that.
Let's sit on
smoker,
milk
tiki
crates.
bar.
I've absolutely had my heart broken here. I'm terrible on social media. I'll be the first one to say that. Like, again, I do my best. I have some fun, and I'll scroll every once and again. But I was told the dang smoker wasn't coming until July. So what does that tell you?
That his followers are more important than his play-by-play partner.
Wow.
I guess. Well,
That hurts. That hurts.
Well, hey,
That hurts.
let's remember, boys, he's a big Leafs fan. And
Oh, yeah.
did he lose a bet? We'll talk about that tomorrow with him.
Yeah, I suppose any small victories he could take in the past 48 hours, take them. Take them when you can. I mean, even if there's personal feelings that are going to,
All right, David, tomorrow, hopefully the weather's a little bit better for you. Have a good night. Watch some hockey. We'll catch up tomorrow.
Sounds great, boys. Talk to you soon.
That is Voice of the Riders, Dave Thomas, live from Red Zone Sports Bar, where our training camp reports are brought to you by right behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Break time, coming back with the ticker. It is the Sports Cage at 620 CKRM.
The biggest and best collector car auction in Saskatchewan is back. It's the 6th annual Coast to Coast Collector Car Auction, June 28th at the Cali Curling Club in Regina. This one-day live auction event with online bidding brings the biggest bidders to Regina for the best selection of classic cars and trucks. There's still room to consign your vehicle to this auction. Last year we had 118 cars, and this year we want to sell yours. Go with the Saskatchewan company with worldwide exposure. Consign with us today at coasttocoastauctionssk.ca. That's coasttocoastauctionssk.ca.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Saturday is game day as the Riders take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Dunk and Tegan Whitco is at 11. The pregame show's at 1 and kickoff with Luke Mullender and I is at 2. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by Young's Equipment, GMS Insurance, and PlayNow.com. Stream every moment of Rider football at Sportscage.com.
The Tire Stewardship of Saskatchewan and your local tire retailers are committed to environmental responsibility by recycling your used tires. The spring tire changeover season is a busy time. You often need replacement tires, and Saskatchewan retailers can help you recycle your used tires. With drop-off locations around the province, find your closest return to retailer at tssk.ca to see how you, your retailer, and the Tire Stewardship of Saskatchewan can recycle your used tires.
What's going on in the markets? When is the right time to invest? What should you do with your money today? When Linda had questions, she talked to Brian Golly.
He makes you feel very at ease. He's always up for a visit with us, and yeah, we're always happy to see him and get some advice from him.
You don't have to plan your financial future alone. Call Brian Golly of Smart Investing Solutions. 306-546-2533.
We would recommend Brian anytime, and we would recommend him to anybody.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. Powered by Prairie Land Rentals. They've got everything you need for your projects. 600 Albert Street. PrairieLandRental.com. It's time for the Sports Ticker. Brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered.
They're getting ready. Warm-ups are done. Game 1, Florida-Carolina tonight, Eastern Conference Final. Other NHL news came down today. Boston and GM Don Sweeney agreed to a new 2-year deal. World Championships, Canada 5-3 over Sweden. Canada will play Denmark Thursday in the quarterfinals. The Danes, 6 shootout over Germany. Germany kaput. Blue Jays, San Diego tonight for your baseball fans. NBA Conference Finals, Game 1, Minnesota, OKC. That is your sports ticker for Extreme Hockey and Sport. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered. So, are you on standby tomorrow if my physical doesn't go well? Can you be on standby, please? You see my phone ring.
Would it matter if you weren't going to the doctor that I'd be on standby? No, you'd phone anyway to be like, yeah, there's a special at Taco Time, and I got to caught up with like 13 different burritos. Can you come in today?
If it all of a sudden was 28 and no wind, I'd be like, I got to swing the wrenches. I got to get out. I got to play. You got to cover for me.
What if Colson calls in and says, "Listen, I'm stuck in the mud in my backyard and I can't even get in my car." Would you go tow him out?
Prairie Land Rentals, go and get this boy taken care of. Whatever he needs. Some sort of rope.
Can we go back to the Austin Matthews passenger comment? Because I would love to know how that would relate to the sports cage. Because there are times when there are some passengers on the show. I'll put my hand up. I've been a passenger plenty. But I think we'd all have to be honest. How many times we sit in the passenger seat? Right? We all guilty of that. Too many passengers on the show. Too many passengers on the show today, Barn.
Yeah. No. If you did have hair, it'd still be dry. That is it for Maz and I today. Thanks, Sheriff. Thanks, Colson. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Summers in Saskatchewan can get toasty. Be ready with a new Bryant air conditioner from Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Bronco's Bryant air conditioners are tariff-free and in stock. When Bronco installs your new Bryant air conditioner, they'll only send qualified, courteous, professional tradespeople who will do the job right, including the cleanup. For a tariff-free Bryant air conditioner, call Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 781-2090, or visit broncoplumbing.com. They'll treat you right.
Burning the candle at both ends? What a weird saying. What if there's no wick at the bottom end? So many questions. But what I don't question is where I get my tires. When your vehicle needs